fucking intro, bro. That's the intro.
Yeah.
It even has like a little graphic. It's pretty cool.
I'm sorry, we don't have an intro.
You need one. I keep trying to tell Ferris. He knows listen.
Let me explain Ferris, and you probably know this.
We're gonna open up. I'm writing it down. Go ahead.
You got this, Ferris? It's
Are you listening?
Yeah.
The first thing about Ferris.
Well, it's also me. We are both huge procrastinators, and you know we could probably make an intro video. We could probably do a lot of things. We could probably have the setup y'all have. But we're procrastinators. I mean, it took all of 5 minutes to set up a Facebook page.
Yes.
We waited months before doing it. We're just huge procrastinators. The only reason we probably did it then was because we were podcasting from a charity event. It's like, oh, we need to get on the ball about this.
Need to look somewhat something. So there you go, Ferris. Get on it.
I plugged you. That sounded so dirty.
Hey, what's a Ferris?
Plugging.
Yeah.
They got a whole section of that on websites now.
Probably do.
Oh, now that's when it's the female on the male, right?
Yes.
That is
strapless.
what that is.
Yeah.
This is already taking a weird turn.
I ain't even done the intro yet.
Get
Well, let's
after
start over it. Not joking. We're the Banter Podcast. In studio, Brock Dillon. Beautiful guest today. Co-host of the Weird but Harmless Podcast, Mr. Tim Russell. How you doing today?
Gorgeous Tim Russell.
Gorgeous.
That is the best intro I've ever been given. I want you to know I thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Both of y'all.
You're welcome.
No problem.
Y'all like set the ball for myself. My ego is gonna go huge now.
Well,
I don't know how it's not already there.
that's where it
It's
should
pretty
be.
high.
Okay.
Yeah, the ego should be through the roof all times.
You definitely gotta have. Yeah, I took a swig, but you definitely gotta have some confidence. I mean, I don't know where we're gonna go with this. I don't know.
Brock, if you ever do that again, I'll hate you.
Look, I burped into the mic. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, we just lost all of our viewers. Everybody's gone. I'm not
Your
listening.
fault.
I'm not listening to Celebrity now. Like, you're better than that.
Guess
You're
how I
better
feel
than
about it.
that. I don't care. All right, back to Tim.
So, Tim, you do the Weird but Harmless podcast with Ferris. Let me ask you something. Just one talker to another talker.
Okay.
Do you feel like meeting different people in this environment has changed you? Like having to sit down and have those conversations with people?
Not really, because we've talked about this. I got my degree in public relations, and so I've always had to kind of sit. And I worked for the school paper when I was at ULM for a couple of years, and so I've always had to just sit down and talk to different people and learn. And so I kind of like this version a lot better because it's a lot less professional. When I was a journalist and I was interviewing people doing different events, and I can't think of anybody I interviewed right offhand, but I interviewed different speakers that would come to our school. You gotta be professional. You can't be like, man, what type of beer do you like to drink or anything like that. You gotta be,
Yeah.
when you wrote your book about, lifestyles and the female mind, what were you,
And I think the worst part about that is the idea that somehow that's a better interview. Like, that's what upsets me, because there is a large portion of people that want to know what kind of beer they drink. Like, that's the whole side they want to know. I think that's why podcasting has become a more popular format.
I mean, I think
I'll play devil's advocate there, just thinking about it. And it's if I need to, you say a better interview. If I have the time to listen to a full 2 hours to know everything about Tim and see what kind of beer he likes, like that's awesome. But if I've got
Heineken, by the way.
Heineken,
If they ever
shout out. So, but if I've got 5 minutes before work and I hear about Tim, and I'm like, well, let me find out what this guy's about, and I want to find a short interview that cuts to the points, where he's from, how he got there, why he does this. I kind of see where they're coming from. If I have 5 to 10 minutes.
So let's do 5 to 10 minutes. Where were you born?
Whatever. I had to think about that.
What do you do now?
I'm a courier, but I prefer not to say from a company.
All right. And what made you choose that path?
I needed a job. No,
Happenstance.
a little bit more than that, but I had other jobs that were a lot more, well, not a lot more lucrative, but I guess you would go at a little bit more prestigious, but they were just jobs you were doing until you just didn't want to be there. There was really nowhere to go, and I was just like, what am I doing? And then I had a friend that was running this particular company, the Monroe branch, and she was like, come work for me doing this, do it for a year, and then you can apply for a transfer to Dallas, Austin, whatever, and maybe work your way up and use your degree. I think it would cost you a courier, so I don't know. But You know, it was just that. And plus, it's a pretty laid back job. You're driving around all day, you know, just picking up stuff and taking it to the next location. It's cool.
And what would you say led you to do public relations? Is that a calling in of itself? Is that an actual degree that you got because you feel like there's something there that you want to do?
I like the creativity behind it. You know, you're kind of just given. Let's go with. I'm just going to make a story. If I was going to do a story on Dillon's fight, on what day is that?
January 6th.
I'll plug you a little bit. You know.
Yeah.
If I was going to do a story on Dillon's fighting, January 6th, that's all it is. Okay, let's go with. You got 300 words. That's a stereotypical story. You know, especially in ULM Hawkeye, that was the amount of words we could use. So I now have 300 words to do on Dillon on his fight on January. So I forgot the date. I have terrible memory. Sorry. But that's it. Everything else I do from there is just me. And so I really enjoyed that. I started out in political science, and that was cool and all, but you don't realize when you're a political science major that you only see the sexy side when you're sitting on your couch. You don't see you gotta look up how the 18 to 25-year-old demographic voted in the 3rd District of Ohio.
Right, yeah,
That sounds brutal.
because Ohio's the swing state.
Yeah.
That's the the vote that changes everything. Yeah, absolutely. The reason why the analyst on whatever show you watch it on is so dry half the time and he speaks in such a measured tone is because he's read 3 books before this interview occurred to even be slightly prepared for it.
And I realized that wasn't for me. It's, you know, at one point I was like, I really want to go to law school, and then I was, oh, no. And so I had taken some journalism classes, some mass communications, because that's what my degree is actually in, is mass communications with the emphasis on public relations. And I just liked the creativity behind it, man. I got to, journalism, public relations, broadcasting. I got to edit some video. I wouldn't say I'm good at it, and especially since I haven't done it since I got out of college, yada yada years ago. But I enjoyed it. You're taking a blank slate. You're an artist, and almost maybe a little bit better because if you've ever been to an art show, I'm not paying $200 for a red painting, a red brick. Sorry.
Yeah, we had a sculptor on. What was that? A couple of months ago. About 3 months ago, and yeah, we actually talked in detail about that, and how sometimes you have to look at maybe what is the artist trying to lead you to when it comes to that stuff. But I'm with you that there are times when it's just like, and Dillon was actually one of the biggest talkers about that, talking about how I don't get it.
Yeah, the abstract murders me. It murders me. Me and my wife were in Little Rock about 2 months ago now, and there was this little art show, and I was blown away. I was loving all the pieces. Everything was an actual picture of something or an idea that you can wrap your head around. But kind of over in the corner was the raw shock type, just stuff everywhere. The blue represents the sorrow within the square circles, and it's like, okay, I'll look at that for a second, and I'm done.
I can appreciate it, but I'm not going to pay for it.
Yeah. Okay.
And especially I'm not going to pay, and I think it was the last art crawl me and Ferris went to. I get to one of these displays, and it's a 6x6 red square, and she wants $200 for it. And I'm like, sweetheart, I can get my niece to paint that.
Is it a pretty red?
It was a very pretty red square.
All right, here you go. Was it a $200 red?
No.
It wasn't.
I mean, no, hold on. If she cut herself and painted it with her blood, I might be like,
that's intense, and I like it.
But that'd be brown.
I'd pay. Yeah,
it would after it dried.
It looks.
But
so
still,
ugly.
it'd be. Yeah, blood does not look good when it dries.
It dries so ugly.
Yeah, even in like a ghee, it dries ugly.
It dries like a coffee stain.
Yeah.
It's funny because I actually had this. My instructor gave it to me when I was training. I had this. It was what's the ghee company that has the pit bull on the back?
Gameness.
Gameness.
Yeah, I have Gameness. I have a big, thick, heavy Gameness blue jersey that my instructor gave to me, and I never got to wear it. No, we were not really. We didn't do jujitsu as type. We did jujitsu, but our official stuff was like integrated martial arts.
Right.
It wasn't MMA. We had some katas and stuff in there too, but we didn't train jujitsu in a gi too much. So.
Now, did you ever see yourself being a person who would do a podcast? Or even better, let's take one step back. When did you know what a podcast was? Do you have a memory of, oh, this is a podcast? Or internet radio, or
Podcast per se, probably 2012ish.
Hey, that's about the same time.
I mean, I think we probably all discovered it about.
Yeah, that's about the time it came to Middle America. Shall we say?
And then
Or the Deep South.
we get everything a little late.
Yeah.
Everything.
Just 7 or 8 years or something.
Oh my God, we're getting Uber and Lyft. Hey man, it's been out for like 10, 15
I
years.
know.
Yeah.
I know.
We're getting a Golden Corral. Dude, that came out like 40 years ago.
Right. Yeah. Now, did that at any point ever like strike a chord as something you would want to do?
Not at first, and then
Even though you kind of have a natural marrying to it, would you say, with your degree and stuff like that?
I'm definitely, I mean, I feel comfortable doing this. Like we have no outline, and I'm like, okay, whatever.
I prefer the no outline.
It depends on who the guest is for sure. Like when we had Grant on, and this is my own fault because I didn't know anything. Ferris hit me with this it's like a few days beforehand, so I just went in blind. I didn't know.
Like I do everyone.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this dude had a serious subject. I'm like, dude, and Ferris kind of got mad at me because he said I didn't look interested. But I was like, dude, you hit me with this last minute, and you wanted me to be serious about something I know nothing about. I can't ask questions.
Right.
You know, I get PTSD is a big deal. I'm not saying I never would say it was, but you hit me with this last minute, a few days beforehand. I don't have the book, and even if he had it, but I'm a slow reader,
Right.
and so I'm just like I'm kind of going in just there. It's
Yeah.
it's the podcast I'm on, but I kind of was like I almost wanted to go first. Why don't you take this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
How much can you even relate to the subject?
and none at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and apparently I went to high school with this dude, but I'm like, man, we graduated with 500 people.
Yeah.
There's people who walked across the stage and it's like, oh,
Right.
Well, it's like I have a lot of trouble whenever we have musicians on because I love music. I just don't know shit about it.
Right.
And I can't play. I can't carry a tune in a bucket. Can't sing. Can't really dance. So it's like
Not at
whenever
all.
they go on and on about it, I have to find entrances for me to come into conversation.
Yeah,
and
that's how it was.
like, oh, I love the way you do that. That reminds me of this, and this. And oftentimes, even those references are hit and miss.
I mean, everybody has their thing, and sometimes it's just really hard to relate to it. So, especially something I can't relate to at all. You know, I haven't been overseas. I haven't been in war. I have not been shot at.
Yeah, well, that's not the only type of PTSD. I mean, there's it's a big miss,
Yeah.
like a big hit and miss, and
Yeah,
there's
I
a lot of
mean-
different perspectives on it. Like you got guys like Tim Kennedy that have been through the worst of the worst, and his perspective on PTSD is almost too extreme for a lot of guys to handle.
To even swallow, like, you know, man, what was that? Was that like 2 years ago? He had that epic long post
No,
about.
that was like 8 months ago.
Was it really?
It was like,
Oof.
yeah,
Whenever he was completely unapologetic about his PTSD.
he was really, really hardcore about it, and a lot of guys reached out and kind of lashed at him for it, but then he kind of further explained it. I mean, it was one thing though because it got the conversation going,
Right.
and I think and that in itself is helpful.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's just strange. Like, oh my God, how are you talking about PTSD, man? Sometimes talking about it. I mean, there's a reason why counselors have jobs.
Yeah.
Sometimes talking about it, and
100%.
And let it be known that
100%.
sometimes the best counselor is the one that doesn't understand your perspective at all. So they literally have to draw it out of you inch by inch by inch by inch. I mean, you know, sometimes I think when you look at the human brain, you know, you have the lizard brain, right? And then you have all the rest of the brain that's not the frontal cortex. And then you have the frontal cortex, prefrontal cortex, and all that. We've been working on that lizard brain for a long time.
which is way too scientific for me.
No. I mean, that thing's, you know, that's
Just kind of follow.
yeah. This is the literal lizard brain, the reptilian brain, and that's been around for millions and millions and millions of years, and it don't have words.
Referencing to the desire to eat, reproduce,
That's all it
Survive.
has. And survive.
fight, flight. Like
Yes.
we don't have lizard brains. Tim's like,
Yeah.
wait, we have a lizard brain.
And then you
I
have,
know.
you know, and then you have everything else, and then you have where language resides, and where emotions reside, and all that stuff that makes us human. And those places don't necessarily always correlate. You know, it takes a long time to even put things into words, I think, because you wasn't dealing with words and thoughts at those times. You know, it was literally fight, flight. Do I have a neural pathway to even get to survival here? You know, do I have a way to get out? Oh, I got out, but my buddy didn't get out. You know, how does that make me feel? Well, I lost a member of a tribe.
Right.
you know, and that stuff's more ancient than language itself, I think. And I think that's part of it.
It's kind of weird because, you know, the few friends I have that have been over there and been in the war room, and I've seen them have those moments, and like I'm stuck because I'm like, I want to help you, dude, but one, I don't know what to do. Two, I can't relate to you, and I'll listen to you, but I don't know what to say. That's all I can do. I'm go, okay.
Well, yeah, and I see a lot of people that have trouble whenever, and not just PTSD, but whenever spouses or someone, they're having a hard time and they're not having an easy avenue to relate. It's like, what do I do? Okay. And like you said before, the best thing you can do is to listen to people and to get them, like Brock said, to drag it further out and get them to dig it out themselves by being an open ear. So instead of like, okay, like be like, okay, or like, how does that make you feel? Ask the really stupid, obvious questions, and they'll dig their own answer.
Because they may not know.
Or they might not have even thought about it.
Yeah, exactly. They're here at the emotion, but they've never sat down and said, why do I get to this emotion? Why do I feel this way? You know, we're so busy existing, we sometimes don't ever contemplate existence. Just straight up, as dumb as it sounds, why am I standing in this line feeling nervous? Why do I feel weird when my back is turned to a door?
I get really weird like that. Like when I go to the movie theater, I cannot sit. I have to be at the very top, my back up against the wall.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know if it comes from doing MMA all the years. Like you don't give somebody your back, or
it's just like you gotta know your exits.
You have to. Well, that's the same thing.
That's part of it too.
But that's that animal. That's that little animal in there going.
Yeah.
It's like we talked about when you came on our show. You know, even though we weren't on there, it's like that vibe you get sometimes, and you get that vibe for a reason.
Yes. Yeah, and I mean, so that's the thing. Like, walk yourself through that, you know, and then like, it is a straight up fact that there are certain people I can go eat at a restaurant with, and I'm at complete ease giving my back to the door if their eyes are on the door, and that's just a fact. And that's because they're people that I trust are running at the same level of vigilance that I am. And that's the only word I really know for it. You know, that I can't help but keep my head on a swivel at times.
You know, and it all sounds super extreme, and like whenever we break it down and spill it out, it's like, holy shit, like these guys are just the most paranoid, freaking out, like always. It's way more relaxed than that. It's just like whenever we walk in a restaurant, it's just, I just grab the seat right here. I'm not thinking about the door. I'm not watching the door. I'm just like, let me grab the seat right here.
Yeah, and that's exactly my point. Is that's just my existence.
Yeah,
that's just how I am. Unless it's 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm finally.
But with all that being said, though, and obviously I wouldn't lie back in the 50s and 60s, but you kind of have to keep your head on the swivel now, man. People,
yeah,
for lack of a better term, pardon my language, but people are fucking nuts.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
they were always nuts.
There's just a lot more of them now.
No, you just hear more about them.
And I think that social media is a powerful thing.
That's just like, you know, since the 70s, violent crime has been on a steady decline in this country.
But
since the 70s.
You just hear about it more and more.
You just hear about more and more. Well, for one thing, because it's rare. We're living in a country of 350 million people. Of course.
400 million now.
Very close.
We looked it up the other day, and it's closer to 400 million now.
And of course there was some crazy idiot who did something stupid today. Of course. Especially when you live in the wide range of wealth that we have. We have very poor and very wealthy. And so there's tension across the whole range. And multiple races and multiple cultures.
And weird acts like that, you know, and this is just the most recent one, I think, but there may be a different one. The guy who walked into the church in Texas. I mean, terrible thing, obviously. But what was even worse to me was the coverage of it. You know?
How quickly was that stuffed?
Well, it's because
I didn't hear much about that at all.
Because a civilian killed him. That's why. The concealed carry thing.
Is that why we didn't hear anything about
it? Yeah, and I hate
to
be the guy who totes
that. Conspiracy.
No, I don't mean to sound funny, but the moment that it became a thing that, it was a guy with concealed carry that went and stopped him, that's when it fell out of the national radar.
That's ridiculous that it happened like that, but it sounds so much like those posts that are like, why don't we hear about this that I see everywhere? And I'm like, I'm hearing about that.
Yep. I mean, you know, you want to feed into a frenzy, there it is. Yeah, I don't know.
It's cool, and this is.
What about? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
He had a drink and had a thought.
I mean, it happens. It happens all the time. We went from talking about how I started a podcast and now going on some weird, you know.
But we're on a good train. We're on a good train.
But yeah, you look at it. This was an opportunity for both sides to get it out there. Oh, this guy had, you know, the left, the gun control side. This guy had access to automatic weapons. We don't need that access. Well, the right saying, well, look, it could have been worse. And this guy with concealed carry knew what he was doing and put a stop to it. And it's, I think you're hearing about these because it just riles both sides up.
Yeah.
Well,
it's tribe mentality to me. Left and right is a tribe.
something that kind of, I thought maybe that it got stuffed because there's been so many big cases coming up recently that it's hard to coverage all of them. Like Egypt. Why haven't we heard more about Egypt?
That was terrible, man.
Brock, you haven't even heard, have you?
What I miss?
Over 200 people.
Was it are you talking about the ones where the Muslims got
Yes,
killed?
where they
terrible.
bombed a mosque and then swarmed them as they ran out with automatic weapons.
Yeah, that don't surprise me because ever since the Arab Spring, when they kicked their president out, they've been in a state of unrest. I mean,
But Egypt is generally a safe country in regards to
ever
numbers.
since the Arab Spring, which was during the Obama administration. But it wasn't anything to do with Obama at all. I'm just saying.
He just
when it
clarified
happened.
he wasn't blaming Obama.
I'm not blaming. Jeez, calm down, people. No.
That's another one of those things. Some people will be like, you motherfucker, you blamed Obama.
No, it's just what happened during his administration. And actually, for the most part, the Obama administration just kind of stayed out of the Arab Spring and let it happen. But no, Egypt threw its president out. Its president of like 50 years almost. And he was a very moderate guy who in his old age was getting a little more and more conservative in certain things, and he was getting a little more police statey.
Okay.
So it was time for him to go. But by all means, the way that they kicked him out, all the people protesting, it was like 100,000 people coming up and protesting. It was a big deal. And he left office, and then all hell broke loose. And all hell is still breaking loose.
You smell a power vacuum?
That's exactly what happened. There wasn't a good plan on how to let him go and another one come back in. You know, America doesn't realize how lucky it is that each and every president has always been like, all right, my term's up.
Gotta go.
I'm gone. All right, I got elected. Or I lost. See y'all later. You know.
I don't feel like we've heard the last Hillary Clinton, though.
Really? Whew. 2 times? Ran twice? Failed twice?
She won a popular vote, though.
That's unprecedented, though. So did Gore. When's the last time you heard anything from him?
Yeah, but I mean, let's be honest.
Inconvenient Truth 2, that bombed in the box office.
Let's be honest here, though. To compare Al Gore and Hillary Clinton is not a fair comparison.
You're right. His approval ratings were way better.
You know, what?
Yes.
What, really? I didn't.
He was vice president of a booming economy. People loved Al Gore. That's history for you.
I
feel like Hillary's definitely made a bigger impact in the political world. Like, everybody knows who she is. Everybody.
And I stand by this every time I say it. On paper, she is the most qualified person to be president.
I don't know what qualification means in that job.
Brock's just left. Just turns the car into the highway. You're trying to drive down a straight road with 2 bumpers, and Brock's just like, left turn.
We're not standing between the must and the
There are no qualifications for the job that requires the governing of a body.
It is not a job of governing the body.
Her political resume is unquestionable.
Yes.
And that's what that is what I'm going on qualifications, because I mean, what really prepares you to be president of the United States?
Hey,
nothing.
What kills me though is he didn't support gay rights until 2013. That's like
neither did Obama.
What?
He did not support gay rights upon being elected into office.
No.
That's kind of.
Hey, bro, look it up.
I'm not.
Look it up.
Look up what year did he start vocalizing?
I feel like the guest shouldn't have to look this up, but I'm doing it now.
I mean, you didn't have. You don't have to do anything I tell you to do.
I want to know this though.
Me too.
But I just don't want to like.
In the year that he was elected in 2008, it was nowhere on his platform.
Well, I think also by the time, and unfortunately, I wish we had somebody here because you're only like a year older than me, so your opinion isn't really that much different than mine. But me and Harris talked about it, and I remember, and we talked about it when you came on, the overcorrection on everything that's happened for sure in the past since September 11th, because that's when I started noticing this, and it might have been around before that, I don't know, but when September 11th happened, you saw this big hardcore push for conservative values.
Yeah. I mean, it was we was doing a fairly good job of 8 years left, 8 years right, 8 years left, 8 years, and we're still on that pendulum. But you're right, the pendulum swings whoop and whoop further.
I mean, I think that was you saw when all September 11th happened, you saw this big hardcore conservative push, big conservative swing, and then when Obama came out, people were like, man, this is getting insane. So the overcorrection was, now let's go to the left, and now we've got political correctness to the T. You can't make a black joke. You're not black, you can't make a black joke. Well, I'm also not the Pope.
And people were tired of war. And people thought that he was going to end the wars.
Joke's on them.
Joke's on them.
And now the overcorrection, though, to political correctness is Trump. And I will stand by this to the day I die. Name one real platform he had.
He didn't like the Iraq War. Lower taxes.
Okay, name one. I'm going to ask you again. One legit.
Well, you could do the same thing with Obama, though. It was just change.
I'll go on those.
Isn't that what MAGA is? It's basically reworded the change speech. Obama was like, we will have change, and then Trump is like, we will make America great again. Is that what everyone needs to get into office? A really catchy line?
I believe the word that you're looking for is reformer.
I remember, this is actually where I kind of got a feel for it, and I don't remember what we were going on. We were talking about how name one policy Trump had, and shit, where are we going with this? I don't know. I had a complete brain fart right there.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's okay. No, I mean, his policies weren't policies. They were ideas. I want to grow the GDP. I don't like that healthcare system. I don't like that much illegal immigration. It was ideas, and the reason that it worked, I believe, is because it wasn't dry policy numbers that was gonna. So if we decrease the inflation by 7% and increase our workforce by 22 million by the year, da 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 blah blah blah, shoot myself. Because sometimes to win the trailer park, you got to talk trailer park.
That's for sure. And sometimes I wish we could just let's see what happens without a big government. Let's just see what happens without a president, without a Congress. Because I guarantee you, people aren't going to be as wild as everybody thinks they will. I think most people, I mean, I know you like having a house. I like having a house, even though I still live with my mom. But I like being able to pay my bills. I like my truck not being repossessed. No Congress. If I don't pay the truck note, it's good.
As long as the laws stay in place.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying. As long as we just lose but you lose the lawmakers and the laws don't get to evolve.
I mean, I don't.
You say you don't see the need for evolution, but here in about 5 years, drones are going to deliver packages from Amazon, and we have to have our laws update to cover that, right?
Well, I mean, just the residential use of drones required a massive law change, because all of a sudden there's these relatively big objects being flown by someone with no flight plan whatsoever in relatively high altitudes.
And if I have one of those peeking through my window looking at my kids, and there's no law that says, hey, you can't have a drone looking in people's window or in people's yards, and it's like, hey, there's no crime done. There's definitely an offense made. So
yeah, and so I mean, I don't know. What I do know is if you boil things down, and I like reading the Federalist Papers every couple of years.
What are those?
That is the set of letters between, Hamilton was the big one, let's just say. But they argued for the Constitution. So the Articles was written, the Articles of Confederation, and it was too weak of a Constitution, right?
Okay.
So then they wrote the Constitution. And basically they then had to argue for it. And it's really great to go into it because then you see why, Hamilton will explain point for point why he said this about the First Amendment, why they wrote the Second Amendment this way, and things like that, because the Bill of Rights even came later. But they argued for and around the Constitution and what it was about. So it's probably one of our better source documents for what the Founding Fathers were actually thinking, rather than just the Constitution, because the Constitution was the end framework, and this is them later on arguing why it should be the way it is. And I love reading it because it explains why the checks and balances are set up the way they are. And once again, the president is supposed to have a decent much of power. We just over the years have just kind of let it grow and grow and grow and grow. And here's one of the things I appreciate about the Obama versus Trump swing is that Obama was a constitutional lawyer, and he literally exercised to the full potential the executive order and funded so many things. And we literally see the issue with it is that the next guy can come in and defund it all. And so you can come in and go, I dislike the way Trump defunded the EPA. Should he have even had the ability? No, because if it had went through the correct process of becoming a law, then there would have been nothing he could have done.
Yeah.
So it's just like the system works, but whenever you jump up and down and go, I want the system to work faster, well then you create a hiccup in the issue because later on someone else can come and unravel it.
You shouldn't be able to have a handful of aces that you can play at any moment.
Right, and the system was set up not to have that. Yeah.
Okay.
Ben Shapiro said it best. It's like the system is built for gridlock, and the only way it doesn't have gridlock is wide popular support.
Yes, and it was designed as a bicameral institute, meaning the Senate and the Senate and House Representatives. Wow, it was purposely designed for that gridlock, and there's a reason why there's 2 senators per state and then a population base of representatives. It was designed for that gridlock, for things to slowly get through. My biggest issue is the Christmas tree bills or the pork bills. Whenever someone comes with a law that they know is going to get through, then some jerkwad says, well, I'd like to fund $12 million to my state for some stuff, and they attach it to that law. I'm totally against those, but I don't think they saw that coming.
It's funny because you say that, and it's just like, that's why I don't get, some people get mad, well, why didn't this bill get passed? Why didn't this get done? I don't know it all. It was a 2,000-page document. I don't know.
Right.
And it's not uncommon for on page 839 for this weird little attachment to be like, oh, by the way.
And some guy found it at the 11th hour, flipping through that someone else had put it in there, and so he's an aide making $12 an hour, all Adderall and caffeined up, flipping through pages on these laws. Okay, you take pages 1 through 100. I'm going to take 100 through 300. We're going to read these laws real quick 2 days before it's passed. Oh, sir, you need to vote no on this law because of this right here. And you don't have time to have a big press conference and hold why you're voting no or yes on every little thing that comes out. That's why you should pay attention to who you elect.
I give Trump this. One thing he did, and I don't know what it was about. I think it was about environmental policies or something. And people were asking questions about it. So he pulled out all the environmental policy books and goes, okay, this is the A section, 2,000 pages. This is the B section, 3,000 pages. Where would you like me to start?
Right.
I gave him some credit for that because it's just like, I'm never going to read that shit, really.
Well, that's the problem with the healthcare bill, right? The healthcare bill was a 2,000-page document, and no one really knew what it said. I mean, there's that famous little thing about Nancy Pelosi saying, you'll have to pass it in order to read it. Yeah, that's a quote.
Why? Why is that?
Exactly. 2,000 pages worth of law.
Scary left wing.
Oh yeah, she's very scary left wing, and at one point she was the 3rd most powerful person in this country.
And she is hardcore San Francisco.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of San Francisco, why are they shitting all over the place?
I left my heart.
You haven't heard?
No.
Well, apparently there's apps out now that help you find your way around San Francisco without stepping in human feces. And I thought the whole thing was blown out of proportion, and maybe this is just a little exaggerated. And then Jake Shields posted a picture on Instagram of this homeless guy shitting on his car.
Yeah. So I went to San Francisco
Tim just can't even breathe right now. He's like, what?
I'm picturing this dude popping his squash and Jake Shields.
I got you. Sit right
I don't know if I want to do this.
Nah, it ain't bad.
So let me tell you my first 10 seconds of experience in San Francisco.
Hold on. I want to hear this, but I can think you can only do that shit in like states where people don't own a lot of guns. You try to do that shit here. Yeah, you try to do that shit here.
Literally.
I don't even know if the cops would arrest you for that. I mean,
Right. He did what? Oh, yeah, no, that's self-defense, bro.
Well, I was in San Antonio last weekend, and it blew me, or the weekend before last, it blew me away.
Before.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
It blew me
That's
away
bad.
how many homeless people there were. Like, it just, they were everywhere. They had whole kind of dug-in spots underneath the bridges with couches and beds, and it was bad.
Yeah, so let me tell you my first 10 to 20 seconds in San Francisco. I took the BART train system in, so I was in Dublin, California.
You threw me off. Right
Yeah,
now.
I had to explain it, sorry.
What?
But I took a train into San Francisco. I popped out on Market Street. Big rainbow flags flying. Woohoo! I was like, oh, this is different. And I turn around, and there on the corner, I shit you not, is someone in a wheelchair that I literally spend the next 3 minutes at staring to see if they're still breathing. Because they're just there alone, very raggedy, like very tattered. And people are just walking all around them, and once again, my little hyper-vigilant brain is sitting there staring at them. Are they breathing? Are they breathing? Are they breathing? And then as I walked, because I walked, I kept it on my Fitbit. I had a Fitbit at the time. I walked 20 miles over the next 2 days throughout San Francisco. I just wanted to walk the whole thing. I had the whole weekend. I did it. There's homeless everywhere.
You can say that for every major city though, across America.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like I'd go through Chinatown. It's like, oh, there. I'd walk up Lombardy Street, stop at Lombardy Street. Nice neighborhood. Oh, there's people panhandling right here because they know that people are coming through. I walk down along the walkway going to the bridges. They're everywhere, and it's weird because the city is so well funded. I mean, there's like free workout equipment right there, by the bay, and you can go work out and everybody's having a fun time and stuff, but there's a guy in something that was a sleeping bag 10 years ago sitting right there, and you're like, oof, and yeah, that was a couple of years ago, so, people are saying it's gotten worse. It's interesting. I don't understand, well, I know that most homeless people are mental health issues. Most of them are, and it's just like, how do you even begin to unravel that?
Wear your boots to San Francisco.
That have shit repellent on it.
Yep.
Is that a thing?
I don't know.
Okay.
It sounded cool.
If it's not, it needs to be.
Apparently in San Francisco. And also some of that, there's this, and I'm just looking at the picture because, it looked like Jake Shields drove a pretty nice car. Especially out in San Francisco, it seems, which is kind of funny because it's the most expensive city, one of the most expensive cities to live in the planet. And I think it is the most expensive city to live in the country. It's like 104% over the national average.
Yeah, I think Silicon Valley's given a run for its money, but yeah, there's like little Vice documentaries, like the little 30-minute documentaries they do about like how expensive it is to live in San Francisco.
Like actually, I want to say the top 5 most expensive cities in the country are in California. It's LA, San Francisco,
You pull that shit up.
San Diego. New York City's pretty expensive too. But
That's what
also,
I've always heard.
But mainly in just like
you
the
pay
Central Park
$2,000
area.
for like a bathroom.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. And it's like even the big cities in the South though, man. Like Dallas, as big as it is, it's still, as far as big cities goes, it's cheap. It's,
Oh yeah. The great thing about Dallas is you make $60,000 a year. You're decent. Versus those other cities, you're a minimum wage worker.
You're over there,
Yeah. I got a decent job everywhere else.
Yeah. But it's it's just the way it is though. In South
The U.S. doesn't even make the top. It does. The U.S. comes in at number 9.
You went to the world.
Mm-hmm. Number 9.
So was it a city?
the U.S. ain't a city.
No, but I'm saying like in the world. So number 1 is Singapore, 2 is Hong Kong, 3 is Zurich, 4 Tokyo, 5 Osaka. So Japan has 4 and 5. Seoul, Seoul.
Creole. Korea,
Yes,
the capital of Korea.
Geneva.
Now, what are we basing this on? What is your article basing?
CBS News, the most expensive cities in the world in 2017 are mostly in Asia. London, Singapore remains the world's most expensive city to live in. A study showed on Tuesday, with 2 Japanese cities, Tokyo and Osaka, returning to the top 10 thanks to the strengthening of the yen. Almaty in Kazakhstan was the least expensive, followed by Lagos. In recession hit Nigeria.
Especially your African.
Yeah, only one U.S. city, New York, made the top 10.
Look at you pulling up an article.
Most big cities are going to be more expensive, though.
No, yeah.
I mean, it's just the way it is. More people are going to live there. You know, and I want to say I read somewhere Wyoming is the least populated state in the country, and it's just like, you think about it, who really wants to live there? There's nothing there.
It's a square.
I mean,
Square.
there's some hermit that's happy as hell. He lives on top of a mesa.
So last year, San Francisco and New York are really close. Last year, San Francisco was first with 3,590, and New York right behind with 3,300. Then Boston, Oakland, San Jose, Washington, Los Angeles, Miami. So I guess they flip-flop this year. So yeah, it's up there.
Also living fluctuates. That's a fact.
I just don't see how that city can thrive on that high cost of living. I mean, you got whole families
That make a lot of money.
Well, no, they don't. Yeah, no, I think the word you're looking for is thrive. And I think that the higher tax rates and things like that kind of stifle that.
And somehow they've worked out a system, and I've heard this from people who are very, very left wing. I'm willing to pay higher taxes to help people, and I'm like,
Who you helping?
who is this helping?
Guess the minimum wage for San Francisco.
It's like 15, isn't it?
13.
Yeah, I was going to say they didn't do the 15 that Seattle did, so.
I get what they're trying to do, but just inflation and
It seems like chasing your tail. It always blew me away whenever I heard about minimum wage going up and then everything else is going up. Why can't you just keep everything the same or bring it down?
Inflation. Because and it's this simple. To increase the minimum wage, you got to make more money.
Yeah.
You literally have to, and I mean like create more money. And the more money you create, the less strength the dollar gets. And that's one thing about Trump is he's actually one of the first few presidents in a long time that actually even talks about inflation. He's talked about GDP, and he talked about GDP for a long time, saying if it wasn't for the hurricanes, we'd already be at 4%. Hopefully by the time December ends with a strong, Christmas sales, maybe we'll be at 4% GDP, which would be an unprecedented growth, by the way. No one saw it coming, except his crazy ass.
The thing, you just kind of, I say it on the word this correctly, you have to want to stay better in yourself. I mean, your McDonald's job, look, when McDonald's needs workers, it's the way it is right now. Once the robots come, I don't know, but I mean, you have y'all laugh, I think it's coming, but
oh no, I laugh because I know it's coming.
I think the Terminator future is a way bigger reality than the zombie apocalypse. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, how hard is it?
I think anything in comparison to the zombie apocalypse is very likely.
Really? Just a mutated flu virus makes people a little aggressive, makes them bite other people, and it transmits through the blood?
Unkillable.
I think it would be more like I don't think it'd be like a zombie as much as just like a human rabies.
Yeah.
That was the movie Quarantine, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, but that is not what a zombie is.
Zombie is a dead person that came back to life that got reanimated.
Well, there's magic zombies, and there's science zombies.
Anyways, back to the dollar. You have to.
I was about to get balls deep in some zombies.
He was ready. He put his boots on.
Somewhere I can relate.
but I mean, you have to want to stay better in yourself, and if your minimum wage goes up from your $7.25 to 15, you're not bettering yourself. You're just probably causing more problems, and it's and. I get some people, and I have to discuss this with other people, and I'm not fully aware of every little detail, but it's like we've created a system now that says, hey, if you don't try to better yourself, we'll take better care of you than you can take care of. I mean, because I ain't even mad at some people. I mean, it's like I could go work at McDonald's, make 15 grand a year, or I could sit on my ass and not do anything, and the government will pay me 25 grand a year. I know what I'm gonna do. I mean, you'd be stupid. I don't care what some farmer John hillbilly. I want to work. No, you don't.
Yeah.
You found a niche that makes you money.
If I could get paid more for not working, like,
I mean, you'd
yeah,
be stupid to turn that down.
yeah,
You know, but you know, we created that system that it's like, don't try to better yourself. But that is, trying to better yourself is what has made, can't believe I'm going to quote me on this, has made America great in the first place, is we gave people incentive to better themselves. I mean, look what happened to communist Russia. Everybody who was working damn left and got the hell out of Dodge right when they could, because I mean, do you want to be this guy who creates a supercomputer and be starving? No, you want to be the guy who creates a supercomputer and moves into a mansion like Bill fucking Gates.
Inequality is due to the desire to rise above.
Right.
And that's exactly what that is. Equality of outcome doesn't make any sense at all. If you I don't care how you write it, equality of outcome makes no sense, because that means we all get the same thing. And if I'm working harder than you, I should get more than you.
I mean, this. I don't necessarily like the term working hard, because there's.
Okay, if I'm.
I've always understood at certain jobs why I made minimum wage, and I always look at it as how replaceable am I.
You know what I mean by working harder is like I'm doing more to climb up the corporate ladder in my job, my position. I'm taking more hours. Like, if we work separate hours and we still get the same paycheck, somebody's getting screwed.
Yeah. But I've always looked at my job. That's why I've never asked for a lot more. Is how replaceable am I? When I've had certain jobs, I could have quit that morning and my replacement would be there that night.
Yeah.
I can't be mad that I only made minimum wage.
Mm-hmm.
And so other jobs are a little bit harder to replace. Like the job I have right now, I'm a little harder to replace. I get paid a little bit better, not much better, but
Yeah.
I'm still not irreplaceable. And that's what it is. You look at these jobs who are irreplaceable, they make bank.
They make the most.
You know, or jobs nobody wants to do. There's a reason why pipeliners and oil riggers make bank.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna get too many people that want to go out there in 100-something degree heat and just do
Spend a couple weeks away from your family.
Yeah.
Like, that's tough.
No lie, right now though, if I could do one hitch and come back with a couple grand, I'd be all about that one hitch.
Oh yeah.
I'd wait for the copter to come get me off the oil rig and be like, deuces, I ain't coming back.
Yeah. Sorry for the long pause there. I was pulling up a quote, but then I found out the quote was misattributed after all these years. So I just had that moment of like, I have a quote for like over a decade in my head.
And now it's bullshit.
Well, no, it's not. The quote exists, but who it was attributed to was the bull.
Well, that doesn't matter then, does it?
Yes.
Unless the
It was the
person.
who that was important.
Who was it?
A certain economist from the 1850s.
Okay.
See, it's kind of weird though. And I hate it when people say we need to change the Constitution from modern times, but it's kind of like,
The living document.
I mean, there are certain things. I mean, the Second Amendment was wrote when you had to sit there and take 10 minutes to fire one shot, you know, not
But you also had cannons.
true.
I like this. I like saying that. But they had cannons.
You
and they didn't
just threw an
stop.
argument for a monkey. You just threw a monkey wrench in my argument.
Yes.
Did they all have cannons?
They were allowed to have cannons.
Yeah.
If your militia could afford cannons, you could take the cannon home.
I would still have a cannon in my front yard.
Right. I mean, you say that, but.
I mean, seriously, it wasn't until the 1930s. Let's really talk about this. It wasn't even until the 1930s that anybody even looked at automatic weapons as something scary.
Good job,
And it
Tim.
wasn't until the
Good job.
Valentine Massacre. It was not until thinking Al Capone decided to go kill some people.
I mean, you could blame that on other things. You could blame that on prohibition.
Right.
I mean, you took away something that people wanted in the first place, which is alcohol. I love alcohol.
So creating a black market increases violence, which increases a need to fulfill that power vacuum.
I mean, you can still make the same argument today, and I don't know if we talk about it or not, but I've watched a lot of stuff on Pablo Escobar lately.
He just watched Narcos on Netflix. That's all he did.
Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Damn it! But I mean, I have researched him a little bit, but the theory's still sound. I mean, people wanted to get high,
They always do.
and I can't argue that point. I wish I could, but it's
Since the dawn of time, I think humans have been looking to get high.
yeah. I mean, but here comes Ronald Reagan. We got it. Well, you might say the war on drugs started before him, but he made it really good.
He made it a war on drugs.
He made it a war on drugs. Okay. And look. I mean, this has the same effect that prohibition did. People wanted it, and it gave rise to people who were violent.
Yes, the most violent snake among them fulfilled the need for the market.
He was one of the top 10 most richest people on the planet.
Balling too.
I mean, he burned $2 million to keep his family warm. Think about that.
Yeah.
I would never.
What?
He that scene in season 2 where he burns all that money.
Wait, you said season 2. You blowing me away. I don't even know what you're talking about.
The show Narcos.
I don't watch TV.
No, it's on Netflix though. It's a great show.
It's a little. It's.
I thought y'all were like referencing like a real like guy.
No,
Pablo Escobar is real.
Okay, yeah, all right. I knew he was
But
real.
he
really burned $2 million.
Real story is he burned his family was in. They were on the run or something, so they were in one of those other houses that didn't have heating. And his family was cold, so he had a whole bunch of money in this particular house too. Took $2 million and burned it.
I just feel like I feel like money burns like paper, so I feel like I'd maybe take $1,000. I've never burned money. I'm not that kind of baller, but maybe. But anyway, so I take like 500 and then use that to get the fire hot, so I could put wood in there. But throwing $2 million into a fireplace seems like a little bit of a
fairy tale. He had billions though, so I mean, it's kind of like.
Oh, that's fair. $1 billion.
And you can't go outside to light the firewood because then you get caught.
But he had a fire in the house, so.
I mean, I wasn't there when he did this because I would probably cry watching $2 million. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't have Pablo Escobar on speed dial. I asked him how.
Yo, bro. Well, I mean, no, this happened post World War I with Germans. Germans burned money.
It was cheaper than burning wood?
Yes.
That feels like another exaggeration.
No, guys literally got paid billions of dollars every week. There's pictures of guys getting their paychecks, and it was literally a wheelbarrow full of money because of inflation. Just to bring that all back. Inflation matters. You gotta look at it.
Anyway, back to my war on drugs. And you created, and this is one of my own political beliefs. If I wanted, well, even though I'm in your house, but if I wanted to sit in my house and snort a mountain of coke, who am I hurting? Myself.
Right.
That's not that shouldn't be anybody else's concern but mine. Now, yes, if I suddenly go get into my vehicle, I have now put other lives at risk.
Or if you have children in your house.
Right. I mean, once again, though, somebody else is. If the only person being affected by my decisions is me, screw you, leave me the hell alone.
Yeah.
But it's
just hard to legislate that.
It goes back to that trying to legislate morality. Whose morals right? It was.
Right.
I don't know. I don't think Dillon saw it. You might have, but I made a post the other day, and I knew what I was about to get. I've gotten where I enjoy making people mad because I don't agree with most people.
He's become a professional troll.
I have. It's getting pretty amazing. Yeah. I posted this thing, and one of them.
What's your favorite part of trolling?
Just watching people get really pissed off, knowing full well I don't care.
The troll doesn't care to begin with.
Yeah, but I posted this thing. One of my things. I don't pull over for funerals. Fuck you. I don't care. You're dead. Okay, and I say this full well at my funeral. You got places to be and I'm dead. I'm not in. Holy shit, am I really in that big of a hurry to get to the crematorium or the ground? No. Get on with your life. So I hate pulling over for funerals. I hate that traffic is the cops stop traffic and I'm suddenly supposed to have respect for this person. I don't know. I don't know who's a good person. Live on in your life, man. I mean, I'm not gonna cut your funeral off. I'm not gonna swerve in and out of your funeral. But if I'm on, like, if it's 4 lanes of traffic and the funeral's in the far lane and I'm in the other far lane, fucking let me go.
Yeah, I think this is you having a healthy relationship with death.
Yeah, I was seconding that. I don't think funerals or death is viewed right here in the Western world, so I think it's a complete waste of time altogether.
And I feel so shady about this. Actually, no, I don't. I had to go. I was running late on a Saturday route. And if I didn't get this, I had to get where I had to go very quickly. And it was like a normal hour-and-a-half drive, but I had to get there in like an hour. So the funeral cuts me off. And I felt so shady about this. I turned my blinkers on and pretended to be one of them. Pretended to be one of them until I got to the interstate till I cut off.
I'm not sure how I feel. I mean, it was clever. It was clever.
Like, I normally don't have a moral compass that points north at all. Like, every now and then it stays pretty south, but every now and then it kind of clicks a little to the side. And from this one,
yeah, it's like, you know what, let's just, fuck them. But you're not hurting anybody, though.
I fell into the back.
You fell into the back?
Yeah, like, I was the last call. That's all. I didn't cut anybody off. I did not cut anybody off. I didn't, like, do that. I just fell into the back, turned my blinkers on, and then when the interstate popped up,
How do you feel about that, Brock? I don't care. How do you feel?
So it's a bright Saturday morning one day. 3 men are golfing on a golf course. All of a sudden, comes time for Tim to putt. Tim stands up to his putt. Right about that same time, funeral procession starts driving by on the side of the road. Tim steps back from his putt, takes hat off head, one of them goofy golfing hats too, because you know Tim's gonna be straight up dressed to the nines in golf gear.
Tim's a handsome fella. I like his collar too.
Oh yeah, he probably got popped a little bit.
Yeah.
Puts his
Never attribute pop the collar to me, please. You can go anywhere else you want with this, but I will never pop my collar.
put the hat over his heart and waits for the funeral procession to go by. After the funeral procession goes by, puts the hat on his head and goes back to putting. Sinks the putt. Buddy goes, Tim, man, that was a really nice thing you did there. He goes, well, it was the least I could do for her. I was married to her for 30 years.
Damn.
Oh, that's good.
It was funny though, because I was talking to one of the other guys that posted on, because people were like legitimately mad at me about this.
Yeah. So I look at it, and I've actually tried to unwrap this. You know, I think at first.
Did you see my post about it though?
Oh yeah. I think I liked it. I'm pretty
no,
sure.
you didn't.
I didn't.
I had nobody on my side.
See, I tend to like just scroll through stuff just like, but
the worst one was when I posted the healthcare one, but I knew what was about to happen with this one.
But for me, the funeral thing is I try to go back to it. You know, I try to like figure out where it came from, and I think a funeral procession at some point probably just called and said, hey, we got to go like 30.
We're friends?
Okay.
Yeah, we have to go like 30, 40 miles down the road. Can we get a police escort? And that police escort happened that one time, sometime a long time ago, to help them go the 30 or 40 miles to that certain funeral plot. And then the people just happened to pull over because they was like, what's that cop coming down the road with the lights on? You know, and they probably pulled over because it's a safety thing. Because like if the ambulance comes, I'll pull over for the ambulance because I ain't getting myself involved in a wreck. Now, I want to say it was probably somewhere along those same lines. And then that happened for a whole generation of people just pulling over for safety reasons because of the cop, right?
I'm liking.
And then some kid goes, Daddy, why don't we pull over when that funeral comes? Son, it's a sign of respect.
You know, it's funny because I think in your own mind,
Bam!
I think in your own mind you're being facetious, but I feel like
No,
that's probably
yeah.
what the.
Yeah, in some ways I was probably really close. Yeah, no, it's a scary thing whenever you start peeling back the onion and you get to this satirical truth and you're like, ooh,
Damn.
Satire and truth. They sometimes congeal, you know. It's like the thing to read about when you're reading an Onion article, you know, when it kind of punches you in the gut though, because you're like, ooh, they're close. Ooh, they're real close to the truth. They're dancing right on the edge.
The man growing 4 arms because the radiation link might be a little bit out there, but the radiation link causing cancer may be real.
Yeah, they go with obvious satire for that reason, you know, hoping that you can draw the small conclusion that they're going with. So yeah, no, I think it's important because here we go with another joke, since it's the holidays. So it's we'll make it Christmas in this joke. So it's Christmas.
Do you not like jokes?
Oh, I hate Christmas.
Okay.
No, okay. Well, I'll make it Thanksgiving since that just happened.
Let's go with Halloween. Go with Halloween.
No, this only works in those two, really.
Okay.
Or Easter. So it's Thanksgiving, and young girl, she's 12, 13, and her mom is finally showing her how to make the Thanksgiving ham. All right. So first thing Mama does is she puts the ham on the countertop and cuts both ends off. Pop, pop. Puts it in the pan. She goes, Mama, why do we cut both ends off the ham? Well, I don't know. That's the way my your grandmother showed it to me. She goes, really? Well, okay. And so she goes, finds Grandma. Now, Grandma's a sprightly 60, 70, okay? You know, she's there. She's sharp. Grandma, why do we cut both ends off the ham when we cook it? Grandma looks at her kind of confused for a second, goes, oh, you know, that's the way my mother showed me, your great-grandmother. She goes, really? Now, granted, this is probably the last 2-3 years of great-grandma's life, but she's there. She made it. And she has moments of clarity. You know, she's that woman who has those few moments at that age. So she goes up to great-grandma and says, Great-grandma, why do we cut both ends off the ham? Grandma gets this look on her face, really thinks for a moment, and goes, oh, hell, because it didn't fit in the pan any other way. We have to question.
We have to, it's kind of, You know,
All I can think about is the wasted food, cutting off both ends.
Right, for multiple generations, because the first generation and great
Didn't have a
grandma
big
probably saved the ends and cooked them the next day for the husband's sandwich, and we're just going for it. But therein lies the thing, right? And I think we constantly have to question.
It's kind of funny though, and
That's why we need Congress, right?
To express the will of the people.
To question the laws and change them as needed.
Right, as long as it's the will of the people.
yeah, but Congress is bought by lobbyists, so
Right, lobbyists is the
Why does the system suck?
Because the greatest flaw that the founding fathers made was they assumed the men coming after them
would be better than this.
would be or just as good.
And we're not. They're not. I mean, money and power.
Right. They knew that over time all systems erode. Matter of fact, that's the reason why they based it off the Romans so much, the system of government, is because they said, all right, this is the one government that stuck around for a long time.
Funny thing about it is it only stuck around for about the same time the United States has been around.
Right, yeah, the center of the system, yeah, because people don't understand that at one time Rome had a triumvirate system. At one time Rome had three presidents.
That sounds better to me.
Really? Because whenever Julius Caesar raised his sword and slayed the other two in the triumvirate, it was hailed, and people partied in the streets because finally we have a man who can make decisions. And therein lies the truth that at first people thought dictators were a good thing in history in the Western government. Did not, because after a while he started wearing a purple robe and people thought, oh, he thinks he's a king. See, they wanted a leader, they didn't want a king. And this is the fascinating sides of what history gives us. At one point, people thought a dictator was a good thing. You know?
There is something to be said there for the one person who can make. I mean, look what really is done in America.
Oh no, yeah, it's effective when there's one man who holds absolute power.
But with that being said, absolute power corrupts. Absolute.
Or at least it erodes. Absolutely. I can't say corrupts anymore because I think what always happens is a man has a vision, right? And to get to that vision, he usually has to make some wild sacrifices that only madmen
seem to make an omelet.
Boom. And so after a while, it's only the madmen that are willing to do it to that level.
The greater good type of thing, you know?
Yes.
You sacrifice 1,000 people to save 1,000,000, you know?
You're right. Yeah, Stalin loved it. Stalin's a prime example of starving hundreds of thousands of people to stabilize a region.
He didn't stabilize it at all, though.
No, but he did keep the USSR going for a lot longer than it would have by displacing. And I'm not saying it's right. It was utterly wrong. But what I'm saying is it had an effectiveness that cannot be denied. That humans, the pyramids weren't built on love.
And kindness.
Yeah. It wasn't, oh guys, we're going to all get together every Thursday and we're going to put some rocks on top of other rocks and then eventually we'll just have this great pyramid.
It was.
Why do Egyptians from thousands of years ago sound like my backwoods Aunt Julie?
That's how they'd sound if they were with love and kindness.
Yes, because Aunt Julie's a very loving woman.
Yeah.
Pyramids and mirrors were built by aliens, dude. You never know this.
No,
it was hours and hours upon days, and it was whenever Jeffrey was against the wall and we had to move it. Fuck Jeffrey. He's gonna keep the bricks together.
He was the mortar.
Did you see the other thing I posted the other day? And I really didn't think this one would get as much backlash as I initially got for it. But it was like, how do you think humans got here? One was evolution, two was
Oh yeah, you said two.
Yeah, three was something else, and then eventually it was creationism.
Yeah.
And people were like, why do you believe aliens? I'm like,
because you don't.
Well, no, I mean, just the intelligent design argument gets so many people upset.
that is one of the.
And intelligent design is not necessarily creationism. Now, you can say that certain forms of creationism are an intelligent design, but just saying, I think something else happened to make it happen. Like there was a guiding hand to make it happen. It's not it's not outlandish. It's really not. And what's really crazy to me is that intelligent design is completely not taught at schools.
The thing, and people ask me what my belief is, and I was like, as a whole, like 99.9% atheist, But I leave that,
No, it's very important that you leave the the
what if.
chance.
Otherwise you're an asshole. Anybody that's 100% sure how everything
anything?
works is an asshole.
On
Because
anything?
what do you, even if you're like 87 years old, like you've been around 87 years, how the fuck do you think you know everything?
Yeah, that's actually just a drop. Humans live a breath, not even a breath. The universe doesn't even go in the time that a human lives.
What's the line of Fight Club in a long enough timeline? The survival rate is 0.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's true though. I mean, you know.
On anything.
Yeah, but yeah. I guess and I was thinking about this the other day. One of my biggest fears is just like, what if? There's two possibilities. There's more intelligent life out there, and that's scary as shit. Or we're the most intelligent life out there, and that's even scarier.
Yeah.
Or the other apes are just as dumb as us trying to make it off their rock right now
Let's
too.
see who gets to the nicer rock first. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like we're gonna eventually run into the same dumb level of ape that we are, and
That's
this is my planet. No, my planet. No, my planet. Let's throw things at each other.
Let's throw shit.
Now we throw nukes. We have interplanetary nuke.
That's really what it is. We're still the same apes. We just have better weapons.
Our planet is huge. It's huge. It's the best. It's
Our-
the best planet.
The blue planet is the best planet. Those guys have the green planet. They have more land than water. We have water.
Trust
We will
me,
survive.
I know planets.
I know planets. I build planets. I build planets for a living. I terraform them all the time.
He's got to
Okay?
be the most easily mocked man in history.
But
Who
his
is this?
syntax.
Trump.
Clearly.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Damn. Our impressions are awful. I'm never
see, the
doing
thing about
another.
it is I've
I'm never
stopped.
doing another one ever.
I've stopped.
Listen. My empire is huge.
I can't listen to it anymore, man. I'm just like, every time I hear him talk, and
But that-
I'd be lying if I follow politics closely, but every time I hear him talk, he just seems like he's not dumb,
No.
but he says some shit. I'm like, you really thought that was...
His grades at some very, very competitive schools throughout his life show that he's not dumb.
But I'm just like, he says things, and I'm like, 400 million people, and we picked you.
Yeah, his
Sure.
speeches sound dumb. You say he's not dumb, but his speeches really do sound.
Did you listen to JRE's Scott Adams?
Which one? Which one?
You know
was
who
it?
Scott Adams is? The Dilbert, the guy who wrote the Dilbert comics. Well, interesting thing about him is he's also a trained hypnotist, and he talks about the fact that, not like quack like a duck hypnotist, but
That's
like,
not real.
yeah.
I know it's not
But
real,
hypnotism is real.
but it's already been. You have to be open to that idea.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay, yeah.
and then one of the things he points out is Trump speaks in the meter that a hypnotist does.
So he's like the devil.
No, he's not the devil. He just speaks in a manner and chooses a certain syntax. Also, that's the other thing. His words that he chooses. This is very bad. Not this is catastrophic. This is very bad. That all of a sudden drops him to that 6th grade reading level.
But
that
I mean,
the people can. Oh.
But I mean, that's kind of what got him elected.
He's speaking
That's
to
exactly
a crowd.
what got
Are
him
you saying he's
elected.
speaking to a crowd?
I mean, you really.
He is the cult of personality. Okay.
I mean, you look at who voted for him and against him. Coastal states. It went about how everybody. Well, I don't want to say that because I really didn't think he was going to win. I thought he was going
I
to be
did.
smoked.
Hey, neither.
I thought he was going to be smoked. I thought it was going to be a landslide. This dude, no.
No, I saw it coming. I saw it.
Yeah.
Bull. Go back to those text messages.
I did not see it coming. I was like,
The thing about conversation in that moment is whatever was read could have been satirical.
No,
You
I
said
wouldn't
you
be
could have
hysterical.
been like, oh, well, this is gonna be our new president.
it was
Yeah,
actually kind of funny though, because leading up to it,
I mean, I'm not saying I'm a glass. I understood that the polls were down, but I also know that anybody over 40 in a red state doesn't vote on polls, on any sort of online poll.
right?
And that's just a...
I don't vote on polls either.
Exactly.
I've never been offered one.
Exactly.
I don't
So
know.
whenever the
What
Gallup...
assholes answer surveys? That's my
I've done
question.
The very people that make votes look a certain way.
I've done one survey in my life, and this lady just happened to call. She had a sexy voice. I hope she's not listening.
Oh, now.
But she had a very sexy voice.
Tim, tell us how you feel.
I mean, it kind of was like that. I was like, oh, I got nothing else to do right now, but
How are you?
I'm free.
Do you have 5 minutes?
yes, I do. For you, dear, I got 10. But I didn't see it. I didn't, because he sounded so ridiculous. Because I
because you're a college-educated man.
But I went to ULM.
You underestimate.
But that's what it was. I guess like I knew he was gonna have his appeal. You know what I mean?
Mass appeal, bro.
I didn't think he'd have. I knew. I mean, he was gonna win the South.
He
I never
sung
doubted that.
all the right chords.
And he sung
Foreign
it
policy, sung it perfectly.
But he never actually had a legit.
I'm gonna defeat ISIS.
That's not a policy.
I'm gonna defeat ISIS, and I'm gonna elect generals to all the right positions.
And
I'm
we're
gonna
gonna
let the
win.
general. I'm gonna give power back to the
That's
generals.
not a policy. That is a idea.
Ask any vet on this side of the fence, son.
That's. I don't. I mean, okay, hold up. I'm gonna get into this with you.
I'm ready to swim.
I apologize.
That
before
U.S. veterans hate Hillary Clinton.
They hated Obama too, but they hate Democrats.
Not necessarily.
Okay, I'm gonna say this in a general term. Let me.
Yeah.
I'm around Republican. I'm around Southern vets.
Yeah.
So I can't be like, what does a vet from California feel? I don't have that accessibility.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But it's where we're going with this. I forgot something.
But you were going to win with me.
Huh?
Keep going.
But I mean, going back to policy, you're defeat ISIS. That's not a policy. That's not a. You got to put these things on paper.
I'm going to give the power back to the generals.
Once again, it's an idea. I mean, it's a good idea. I'm not saying that. You know, hey, you know what? If I'm running an engineering company, I'm gonna give, and I don't know shit about engineering. I'm gonna give the power. I'm gonna let the engineers make decisions.
What you're saying is the broad strokes.
Yes, and what I'm saying is that broad stroke is exactly what worked.
I'm not saying it didn't, but that's.
Y'all are agreeing and arguing that you agree.
Are we arguing?
Like it's.
I mean, it goes back to what I said at the beginning. On paper, Donald Trump was the least qualified person for this job. And on paper, Hillary Clinton was the most qualified. But Donald Trump got up there and he sang the most beautiful. Goddamn, he sang the most beautiful fucking song I've ever heard.
And then during those Republican primaries,
he shit on people so bad.
he danced with the devil in a way that no other person that was and everybody that hates politicians were going, yeah.
I was kind of impressed that he gave bigger.
Oh, tired, worn out.
That used to happen a lot.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Way back in politics, they used to argue about dick size and everything.
I'm talking about from JFK on.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the modern era.
Last 100 years.
The camera, exactly. Because like, was it? Who did JFK run against?
It was, who came after? Yeah.
Was it?
I want to say he ran against Nixon. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yes, he ran against Nixon.
Because Nixon fucking looked terrible
on camera. Yeah. So everybody that watched it on TV thought that JFK won the debate, but everybody that listened to it on the radio thought that Nixon had won the debate.
Well, you know how he pulled that off, right? JFK had friends that had been on camera, so he asked them what to do, where to look, and fucking Nixon was like, do.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though, the modern era, and that's one of the appeals of Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was all of a sudden a conservative, you know, we had to fast forward a little bit to get to him, but he was a conservative that was very comfortable with the camera.
And also, he exploited Christians.
My fellow Americans.
Because he was...
Could stare directly at the camera, could address it as if it was the audience.
You can make that argument for Obama, too, though, man. I mean...
Obama was beautiful words.
He was... I voted for him in 2008. I'm not even ashamed to admit it, because I blew me the fuck away. All right?
Yeah.
I mean, and, you know, I wasn't fully aware of that I was a libertarian yet. I knew liberal and conservative, and I know what conservative, so Barack Obama it is. So 2012 rolls around, I'm like, no.
Where's the fifth option? I need the fifth option. I need the fifth.
But there's only two. Nope, there's other names here. I don't know who this dude is, but I'm voting. I have walked into a voting booth before on certain elections and just voted for the dude I knew stood no chance of winning.
Click.
Like I got into one voting booth and I don't remember the dude's name, but his party affiliation was no party affiliation. I was like, I'm voting for this.
Perfect.
And it kind of goes. It's just like, man, can we get both parties? I'm sure when they started had great ideas. We're probably great people, but like anything, you want to keep your role becomes I want to keep power. I want to keep power. Democrats and Republicans want to keep power.
Well, I'm a big proponent that the two-party system is terrible. And I mean, I think within the Republican system alone, you could have the evangelical right and then the right.
You think about it, it's only at a national level that we have that. Because I mean, you can't.
That's the thing. That's the only levels that they have any sort of voice.
You can't. A Democrat in Louisiana cannot say I am in favor of gay rights. I'm pro-abortion. Well, I'm pro-life. But in California, a Republican cannot come up there and say, gays, go fucking die.
Right. But I don't. Here's the thing, though. I think if you took most conservatives today and you put them back just 50 years, they'd be a flaming liberal. They'd be a complete liberal, according to the platforms of then. And at one point, the term the blue dog Democrat was a very fiscally conservative Democrat. That guy's gone. He's dead.
You could almost say, though, he's a libertarian now.
Right. But they used to be very powerful blue dog Democrats, Southern Democrat types that were extremely fiscally conservative. So the parties have actually gotten more compacted and more left, right. There's less and less middle ground and less crossover. You used to could find Democrats that were pro-life. You used to could find them all the time. Now,
you still kind of can. It is, once again, it's
if you get them behind a closed door and talk to them.
It's amazing what you can learn about people, though, because one of my friends, a guy he's a gay guy from California. He's like, man, everybody thinks California's this little, Mecca, and it kind of is. He's like, you get some of these people behind closed doors, and they hate my guts.
Well, it was only a 3 million vote swing in California. It was only 300 million more liberals than conservatives. And that isn't that many people when you talk about California.
Yeah.
And really, all that is
right over there, dude, kind of
stretching.
Just stretching. He had some hard workout this week. Hard training sessions. Working hard. Bleeding it out. But, all it takes is, all of a sudden put San Francisco in Nevada. Annex San Francisco into Nevada. And all of a sudden, California's a 50-50 state.
Right.
It's really just the fact that there's that many big cities in California.
There are a lot of big cities.
Right. But there's also a ton of farmland. There's also a ton of SoCo area, that's not.
Is California bigger than Texas?
No.
Okay,
No. The thing about California, the interesting thing about it is it's long.
Yeah, I knew it stretched from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Texas is girthy. Trust me.
It takes a whole day to drive across that.
Right.
It's 12 hours. Half a day. I've done it about 9 times.
Yeah.
I did it once, and I'll never do that shit ever again.
That was tough. That was in the early days of my relationship.
Mm-hmm.
That was tough.
All right. I think we did politics ad nauseum.
Oh, thank God.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm brutalized.
I just find it interesting, because I just want to know, how did we get here?
Yeah.
I know.
No, you're absolutely right. And if we discuss strictly how do we get here, or how did we get here, the conversation's fine. However, it's too easy to take a tangent.
Yeah.
That's the problem with something so big, so broad.
And people think their views are right no matter what,
Yeah.
And I'm gonna get off on this one more thing. It was in my mass communication theory class. We learned about paradigm shifts.
Yeah.
And at the time, because big paradigm shift, TV came out, radio, you make the argument with social media.
Podcasting.
Yeah. And we were talking about, how these cultures just adapt after these things. And it was, at the time I didn't pay any attention. I'm just stuck in a 3-hour class that I think has no real importance in my life. And one of the bigger things was when Orson Welles did his War of the Worlds radio broadcast, people were signing.
Yeah.
I thought it was real. And that was one of the questions on the test, is to talk in length. And I didn't study for the test. I didn't pay attention to the class. And my answer was, because people are fucking nuts. And while I got a couple points out of a big, it was like a 20-point question. I got like 2 points out of it. She's like, you're not wrong, but I needed more.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, I'm looking at this and I'm watching how people act, and I'm watching them, I'm just like, I wish I'd paid a little bit more attention, because this is a prime example of a paradigm shift. How the fuck did we get here?
Yeah, sure, you're right. And people don't even understand that Twitter and Facebook, really, this is the only president that we've ever had in the era of Facebook and Twitter. Yes, Obama had a Facebook and Twitter, but he also was a person who didn't use them. They were just a thing that came out while he was in office, and so he had one. Versus we had a guy that used one in his civilian world. I'm tweeting whatever. on Twitter, and what are you gonna do about it? You know, and so when he came into office, they were like, "What's he gonna do with it? Well, what do you think he's gonna do with it? He's gonna do the same exact thing he's been doing."
He strikes me as a guy who just wanted to be able to say he was president, and once he got there and realized he was president, he's like, "Oh shit."
Well, I mean, you remember what was it when Obama did the little comedy roast to Trump?
Mm-hmm.
It was an inaugural ball or whatever, and he was making fun of Trump.
You're all this, you're this, but you'll never be able.
Yeah, and you can watch the video and you see it on Trump's face. Just.
I think that's the.
And that was it. Yeah.
I think that was the whole reason he ran. It's like, all right.
Watch this.
Anyways, what would you like to talk about? You don't want to talk about politics. You don't like it. So
Let's see.
I'm not going to be able to talk about zombies with you. I'm sorry.
Nah, I don't know much about zombies.
The importance of keeping balance while head kicking.
It's pretty important. You got to rotate on.
Get out of my face. Get out of my face.
You got to rotate on the ball and your plant foot pretty well. You got to make sure you got the right arch. More importantly, you got to make sure that leg gets back to the ground just as fast as it went to the head. Mm-hmm. That's a part people forget, and that was a big. Because my instructors, I'm going to go on this tangent now. You brought it on. My instructor's main background was Muay Thai, and he stressed that so bad. As fast as the kick goes out, it needs to come back. You know what I mean? And it's hard to do that. You throw that kick out, there's so much force and hits. You're like, but oh shit, I gotta get it back.
Yeah. I'm not much on head kicks. It's not really my cup of tea.
I've only won in a fight. It was pretty cool, but I set it up beautifully. I kept throwing a double jab leg kick combo. I threw it like 3 times in a row, and I kind of watched him start to slowly react. And I thought, all right, throw it.
Now I'm kicking in the fucking head.
With his way of getting out of the kick was, that kind of jump to the side and throw your head down.
Yeah.
And I saw it on I saw it on third. I was like, fuck this, I'm hitting this dude in the head. Bop! It didn't knock him out because I was a little far out, so I hit him full foot. But it clocked him, and I was like, yeah! I'm like, oh shit! And I threw myself off balance.
Right.
So, rotate properly on the ball, on your plant foot. Come at an angle and get the foot back
Get
down.
it back.
Yeah.
Speaking of fights, we got fights this weekend. I need to do a Dillon's picks.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and do it live.
All right. Open up the card.
I'm gonna go ahead.
Let's do it all 3.
Y'all keep it busy. Keep it busy for me.
All right, we're gonna keep it busy.
Back to politics.
No.
I'm a bust if I hear about politics for myself.
What's a sport that you wish you could do? Like you just haven't been able to go try it. I mean, any sport, extreme sport, whatever.
It'd be kind of cool to do like the Red Bull things. Like
X-Games stuff.
Yeah, but I mean now it's a little bit. Even still around here, it's still not that big. You got the skate park. I was always interested in like dirt bikes and some skateboarding and stuff like non-traditional sports. Because I mean, you look at me, I'm 5'10", on a good day I'm 165, 170, and this is as big as I've ever been. When I was a kid, I was like 100 pounds when I was a junior in high school. I was never gonna believe it. I had no business on no damn football field. Not up there with them driving.
Corn pwned, corn fed.
It worked out better for me in the long run.
So is there one of them in particular, like a motocross or?
Motocross for sure, definitely. And not even the motocross racing. I always enjoyed watching the stunts and kind of nitro circus type stuff. And my biggest one was the I forget what it's called, but it's the high jump based on the dirt bike. And I always found that cool. Like
like that big ramp and they land on the other ramp. Yeah.
Like, I was just like, you can take this machine that easily weighs 100 to 200 pounds, throw it 40 feet up in the air. Maybe not that high, but it was high. I'm just like, and then still
do tricks. Even.
And still had the ability to bring it back down on the wheels.
Right.
I mean,
the kind of gall that takes. Like one of the things that always got me was the backflip on a dirt bike, and people and even how backflip, and I'm always like, no way. Halfway through, my body would be like, nope.
And that was and even so advanced now that like double backflips are being done, and they're doing triple backflips. I'm just like,
that's the whole 4-minute mile thing. Oh, there's nothing else we could possibly do with this, and then guys broke the 4 minute, and everybody's like, oh, okay, we can do it now.
Yeah, I mean,
some nerdy little British guy.
Human beings are amazing.
I agree.
We're capable of great things and terrible things.
Speaking of amazing human beings, the only 2 fights I really care about on this card, because it's super weak. Cub Swanson, Brian Ortega, and Marlon Moraes versus Aljamain Sterling.
Oh yeah, man. I know Cub Swanson. That's it.
Okay.
Well, I'm picking TCD.
You are. I am too. And Cub's got more experience, more fights. He's been in those. This is Brian Ortega's first 5-round fight.
Yes.
He's won his last 2 with late stoppages. Like he was losing on the card, really close fights, and then he pulls it through at the very end. So it looks really tough against a vet like Cub Swanson.
High level jiu-jitsu though.
Yeah, I mean Cub too. He's a black belt.
I know Cubs.
Yeah.
I know Cubs.
Cub's no slouch. But I really want Brian Ortega to win this and get a title shot, so I'm pulling for T-City.
Which, I mean, that would make him, what, 11-0?
13-0.
13-0.
13-0, and then beating a top contender like Cub Swanson slings him into the top 5.
Right.
So, Brian Ortega for the win. Marlon Moraes, I don't know if you know who that is.
I want to say that I don't know who it is. The name strikes me.
I'm all about him. I think he'll do extremely well. He just beat John Dotson in a 3-round decision.
Okay, yeah, that's okay.
And he lost his UFC debut against a Sun Tzu. So he's coming from, I think, what is it, World Series of Fighting?
Mm-hmm.
So UFC's cutting him no breaks at all.
Put him right in the fire.
And then Aljamain Sterling is coming off of 2 wins off of Renan Barão. And I don't know who Augusto Mendez is. But beating Renan Barão is a feather in your cap.
Yeah.
It's kind of. I really wish the UFC would put a little bit more behind something. It's kind of like when DJ wins. It's like I doubt and watch DJ and little fucker can beat my ass.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't even be able to land. I can't. That wouldn't even be hard.
Touchy.
Yeah, it's so fast. It's just like you won't be, especially at 125. I look at that weight class and it's hard for me as a man to go, man. I'm intimidated by that. He can be like, it's just so small. And you're just like,
small guys.
They're not a draw, and they don't. I mean, his last win when he German suplexed that dude and then was like right in the air transition to him. $1 million I could pull that off.
Right. After 20-something minutes of fighting.
Yeah.
That's the thing because you know he had to reach. I don't care who you are. He reached into the gas tank on that one.
How tough was?
If he doesn't hit that though, he probably has nothing left.
Yeah, but I mean, that was a close fight up into that moment.
I mean, no, it wasn't close.
No?
It wasn't close, but who was the guy who fought? I'm forgetting his name.
Tim Elliott pushed him a little bit further.
Tim Elliott did good in that first round and then got kind of slaughtered in the later rounds. But I was really impressed at how tenacious that guy was because DJ was just shutting him out every round and he'd get back to the corner, shake it off, come back.
I'm sorry, but I still just don't think DJ versus Dillashaw was that big of a deal.
What?
I'm sorry, dude.
Okay.
I
Maybe is that just for the hardcore fans out there like me? Is that what it is?
I mean, hold on. Let me rephrase that. If it was on free, I'd watch it. And
Now,
if it was a $30 pay-per-view, I'd watch it. But you want me to spend $60, $70?
I want you to go to Buffalo Wild Wings, eat a burger, and watch it.
I don't like Buffalo Wild Wings. It's just.
You see what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to buy the pay-per-view.
yeah. No, I mean.
Okay, let me rephrase this. It's just not something I'm going to go out of my way to do.
Okay,
Do you think though it could be what slingshots? And I don't want to try to cut you up. Then apologies.
No, you're good.
Do you think though that could be the thing that finally maybe slingshots him into some form of stardom?
No.
No. Say he pulls that off.
No.
Say he beats
Still
Dillashaw.
125 fighter, and at best a 135.
So you think it's because they're 5'6" and
Yeah.
you know? Okay.
I mean, what do you? Let me ask this. Shit, y'all. It's hard for y'all. And Dylan's over here getting mad.
Wait, no. I have a really cool thing in my head right now because I'm super deep in. Brock's not as deep in me, but he's next. He's right there. And then you're the casual fan, right? Casual.
Now, yes.
Okay, now? But
Yes.
you used to be way in, but now you're a casual fan, right?
Yes.
So we got the 3 layers.
I wouldn't even call myself a casual fan, man. I am a strictly.
Passing knowledge.
I'm going to watch Cyborg Holm.
Okay, yeah, all right. Well, then you're even a little bit above a casual fan because you know who Holly Holm is.
Yeah.
So me, like, I'm super stoked for TJ and Demetrius Johnson. I'm really excited for that fight. Brock, how do you feel about it? Are you gonna watch that?
Hold on.
I want to see it.
See, he's not as excited as I am, and then you don't care at all. Like, there's a huge drop off.
I can look at it and I can look at it match. I wasn't a man. I want to watch that fight.
Right. Yeah.
As a guy who still tries to train and I know the sport, I would watch that fight and go, man, this is gonna be a good fight. That's it. Like if y'all paid for it and invited me over, yeah, I'd probably come. If you said, hey, can you throw?
Are you gonna try to like go see who's watching the fight and go see it? Like,
I would piggyback, yes.
You piggyback?
I'd piggyback, but other than that, I would not go. But I can also say this: if it was a Saturday night, which it will be, and you said, "Hey man, we're gonna order the fight," you wouldn't even have to give us a dime. And my girlfriend said, "Hey, you want to go do this?" Probably like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go do that."
Okay, yeah, that's the answer I needed then.
And that's somebody who trains. That's somebody with a working knowledge, has trained MMA.
They're both, no, with that being said, they're both great fighters.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They're
Yeah.
beautiful fighters.
But
They
what we're
have
saying,
beautiful technique.
what we're saying is you're more than a casual fan.
Yes.
The casual fan does not give a fuck about that fight.
And I
DJ
think
is
that's
pound for
the
pound the best fighter
craziness
of all
of it, because on this side of the fence, it's like, dude, that's the fight that needs to happen. Like, that's what's got to happen in this MMA world. And you're like, that's the thing that's going to shake it all up and introduce more fans. And
When's Conor McGregor fighting again?
It's,
Right,
I'm just
go
saying,
loud
it's
mouth.
not
Even
never
George
finished
St.
the
Even
belt.
George St. Pierre's return only did 800,000. Oh no, 800,000.
Yeah, I was
800,000.
confused by your number.
800 million would be the fucking.
Is that the amount of money?
Only did 800,000,
Yeah.
and they all expected that to hit 1 million, and that was a stacked card.
It was a great card.
Those are great fights.
Yeah.
This last card was amazing.
I,
UFC 218? Are you kidding me? You missed two contenders for fight of the year. It was.
Dylan, I don't think you know this about me, but I'm just now in a new relationship, so
Okay.
kind of when the girlfriend goes, "Hey, do you want to go do this?" I'm like, "Well, we'll get ready to this."
And you consider yourself an anti-social.
What's her name? What's her name?
That's not important, right?
No, I want to give her a shout out.
You consider yourself kind of an antisocial person, right? Kind of
I
a,
don't
but not a homebody. That
I'm not a
sounds
homebody,
strange.
but I'm not. It kind of just depends on the scenario. Like I had to go to Natchitoches for the Christmas lights, and I was just like, "This fucking sucks."
Right,
But you asked me to go to a metal concert, and I'm like, first.
right. Normal human interaction is boring and useless for you.
I don't want to say boring and useless. It's just
Define normal too.
yeah,
Well, no, that's what I mean. But like talking about the weather,
yeah.
don't want anything to do with it, even though you know there's a social contract involved.
I
And
talk
also,
about the weather
no talking
as,
about the weather.
as a nice way to say hey, because hey is stupid. If my neighbor who I don't talk to a lot, when I
Have
see
you ever
him,
tried "How are you doing"?
well, yeah, I do
How's
that.
it going?
I'll do that like, hey, how's it going, man? I'll say something like that. Or if it's really cold outside and I see my neighbor walking to his car, I'll bundle up. I'm like, this weather's freaking crazy. And he's like, yeah.
Yeah. So anybody that knows me knows that if you ask me how am I doing, I'm usually going to tell you I don't know. Right?
Yeah.
And that's
Or flip me off.
yeah. Well, you.
Yeah.
You,
okay, that's
me, and
fair.
Dylan. But like you're around me when people ask me how I'm doing, and I
Yeah.
usually say I don't know. I don't check online.
And you make them awkward.
Yeah, I instantly put it in an awkward situation, and I don't know where I got it from or when I started doing it. But I found that I immediately get much more to the meat of what's going on with them. And I don't know why, but it's just something I did.
Well, they're trying to greet you, and now you're being like honest, or what they perceive as honest and open, and now they're like, oh, like he wants to talk.
Yeah, I think humans have forgotten how to talk.
Yeah.
We know speaky good. Even in our text, sometimes if you look at a text and you go, all right, brother, hey, did you read what you wrote?
Yeah, I'm calling people a lot more these days.
When somebody calls me, I'm like,
I'm calling people a lot more. I called you, didn't I?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm just people call me. I'm like,
It's way better, and I don't know if this is taboo if you're not supposed to talk on the phone and drive, but I don't like texting at all when I drive, and
Right.
everybody I know does it. It drives me crazy for people to look down like that, so I'd rather click contact, call, and then look at the road.
as a
at the
person
same
that's
time.
drive for a living, I never text and drive.
That's right. It's very bad. It's the worst thing.
We never actually finished our discussion though about Dillashaw versus DJ.
Well, I think it is what it is. Like nobody.
No,
really
my point
cares.
is, who do you think wins though? I mean,
I think Demetrius Johnson. Yeah, I think Demetrius
I
Johnson
don't.
wins.
Unless TJ cutting weight like that affects him more than I think
Would
it
they-
will.
Oh, you mean a weight cut is
Hold
going to
on,
affect
no.
the fighter? Yes.
No, I think it will. But I
They
think
will-
that power.
they will never make Dillashaw go that low though. They're gonna make DJ come up.
No.
No. DJ has.
No, Dillashaw's cut
said
down.
He will not go up.
Dillashaw said that he's preparing to cut down.
Yes. Now I just think the raw power and the fact that he can match the explosiveness.
I think it says something
The
about
mighty
both
house.
those divisions that they're having to have that fight for anybody to give.
Yeah, well, it
It's
does.
Like,
It does. It
and
absolutely does.
and people will still
yeah.
not give a fuck.
No, you're absolutely
Meanwhile,
right.
you have Francis and the guy.
That
This is God from the mountaintop has descended upon humanity.
It's kind of funny because like I look at his fight with Miocic and I'm gonna be like, Miocic is the far better MMA fighter.
Sure.
But God,
Yes.
but he might can rival Mark Hunt.
It just upsets me that there's men like that walk around that didn't have to use science to make it happen.
Yeah. No.
Like, how did you what, God? Like at least back in the day, like you want to see a Francis versus a roided up Brock Lesnar, or Francis versus Alistair Overroyd, like the original.
Yeah, Ubery.
The original Ubery.
You know what's kind of funny though? Have you ever seen a picture of him when he was a 205 fighter?
Oh yeah.
He looked normal and he was a lot better.
And then it's like a year came over until.
You know, Japanese people like their circus acts.
I know.
Yeah,
It's
that's
amazing.
the reason why Bob Sapp even had a career.
Hey,
you
fuck
know,
Bob Sapp. Have you seen Gabby Garcia's most recent?
Bob Sapp got fat paid by those Japanese people though, because they do love their circus acts, and he got fat fucking paid.
He was a superhero. There was action figures.
Yeah.
Like Bob Sapp was a real deal.
Well, I mean, he is a freak.
He came to whenever the organization I fought for, you know, they brought in these special guests that got paid a lot of money to come and sit down there and start working anybody. Bob Sapp was one of the guests one time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Carlos Condit was here when I fought one time,
Okay.
but he never talked to anybody. He sat at the deck, watched fights, got on and just what the fuck. Woohoo. But Bob's, my trainer said he was talking to Bob Sapp, and you know, telling all the money he made in Japan, like he would get paid 6 figures easily for just a fight that he lost.
Yeah.
They
It just showed up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I mean, yeah, that. I mean,
There was
there's a lot
actually
of stories.
suspect that he was taking dives in his later fights,
Yes,
tapping very quick to strikes.
Did you ever
and-
take a dive?
No.
Okay.
No.
I don't
There's
think
way
he
too
knows
much
how.
pride. There's way too much pride.
Like, you know, you like talk about ethical and moral codes, and I don't even think it's an ethical or moral code with Dillon. I just don't think he knows how.
I just can't.
Because listen, I have sunk some chokes in on Dillon. I have sunk chokes in on Dillon that other men tap to, and Dillon just will turn his head to look me in the eye. It's not happening. It's not happening.
I'm so bad on the ground now. Like if I know it's coming, I'm like, hey, look, you got it. I'm just like, you won't even have to put it in. I don't know how to get out of it. I don't know how to stop it from happening. I'm like, dude.
Neither does Dillon.
There you go.
He's coming out of it though. Not today, Satan.
But it's like, especially when it's like right there and the escape's there too.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like that window's there. I'm like, I'm gonna go ahead and push it right here to the edge to see if I can get out.
Yeah, he's gonna test my ethics. Is what he's gonna do.
See, what about it is though, knowing the game and the promotion like I do, I watched it. And it was Battlegrounds 2.
Yes.
I think it was. I watched you fight on it.
Mhm.
I'm not sure.
Abe Sellers. Yeah, that was it.
I'd be lying if I remember. It was back in like March, April maybe.
Yes, that one right there.
Yeah. And so I was like, Dillon looks like a god right now. He was the only local guy that won.
No,
You were the only local guy that won. I remember this.
Wait.
Jesse won.
Yeah, Jesse won.
That Jesse didn't fight.
Wait.
Oh, his fight dropped out.
He didn't show
That's
up.
right. He had ended up going to fight in Shreveport.
Okay, yeah,
You were
you're
the only
absolutely
local guy that won. And so, one, I'm going to take this in 2 stages. This was a bad promotion. This was a terrible promotion. And I say this knowing if you want, because now you went from fighting in the Ewing Coliseum, pretty big venue,
Yeah.
to the West Monroe Convention Center.
Well,
There was and I'm saying this because I fought, when Ring Girls, we fought in every major venue here, and there was a reason why they went into the West Monroe Convention Center, because the rent on, like, let's say the Civic Center, is too high and you're not going to make that money. And then you go to Battlegrounds when you only have one local fighter win. Why, as a fan, do they want to come and watch the people they know lose?
I don't know if it's big enough here for that to even be a factor. Like, especially like in the Louisiana area, as far as MMA goes, I think people will flock either way. Like,
You still want to watch the people you know.
Yeah.
You definitely. And when you start noticing that they all, and look, I know most of these guys, so I mean, I'm not trying to hate on them by any means. It's just, as a person, because tickets were $25-$30, and you're taking a family of 4. That turns out to be a lot
yeah,
of
it's
money.
$100.
You know, do you really want to go watch the people you know lose? Or you just want to sit at home? It's bad matchmaking to me. It's bad.
I think what you're saying and let me see if I can
And
wrap this up. If we could catch a wave of local fighters winning,
Well, see, when I was fighting,
then maybe the steam would
Yeah.
be that would be, because you're right, the markets here are crowded markets. Everything that you bust into in this market, there's either no market for it
Or everybody's trying to do
everybody's
it.
doing it. So
Yeah.
like the only way to really get that market going would be to, hey, I got 7 local fighters, 6 of them won. Now we're gonna do this again in 3 months. Come watch these same, guys
Yeah.
do it again. We're gonna bring in some guys from Texas this time. They're gonna mow them down. That's the kind of language that needs to be thought of, right? Is that what I'm?
yeah, it was kind of funny though, because like one show I fought on, it was pretty much Monroe versus Dallas,
Right.
and we always won.
Well, I mean, you
Dallas
gotta think
is
about
tough.
the talent pool of Dallas. I mean, it's just like when you go to a jiu-jitsu tournament. You can go to a small venue jiu-jitsu tournament,
In Dallas,
In
yeah,
Dallas,
they're
and
going to
some-
be there.
and some real talent shows up because they're like, why not?
How many fights have you had?
4.
Okay, where have all the guys been?
Caleb was from Tyler, Texas.
Mhm.
Caleb Menor.
There's something you're from
Then,
now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, something I noticed.
Chris Miller was from Dallas though, with 4 ounce.
Something I know, or I noticed when I was fighting, and I don't know if it is like this anymore. When I fought closer to Dallas and the big cities, you saw guys that were way more well-rounded. You had guys that were great wrestlers. I fought a guy actually when I read the article on him, he was not a noticed pro,
Yeah.
and I fought him as an amateur, and he was a wrestler, and man, he's just shot in. And 1 second he was standing up in his normal fighting stance, and like a second later he was in the res. I was on the ground. I was like, damn.
Yeah, it was
And-
quick.
Yeah, and then you get closer to like Mississippi, Alabama area. They don't have as much formal training,
Yeah.
but they are cock strong and they will swing. And
Right. Don't get caught.
I had this one guy in an armbar, and I held him there for 30 seconds, just like upside down, and he's just picking me up and slamming me, and I'm just like, I want this asshole time.
Well, that's,
Let him go home.
yeah, just with jiu-jitsu tournaments and all the experience I've had with that, if you go west, that's whenever the shit gets thick. Like, you want
Yeah.
tough competition, go through Dallas, start going to San Antonio, like, start going to those big spots. But if you go, all my tournaments that I've had in Arkansas, Mississippi,
Yeah,
New Orleans,
you gotta
like-
get all the way back to Alabama.
yeah,
and Georgia
yeah, you
for-
gotta get to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Atlanta, that's the next big international spot. That's where it's tough. But everywhere else, kind of over
Nobody
here.
really wants to live in Conroe, Arkansas. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not gonna get.
Yeah, it was so
And in
bad.
cities.
Well, actually, that was just the first one because I was looking something up the
I
other
was
day.
just trying to know.
But I mean, and it's actually kind of impressive. And I'll give y'all instructor all the credit in the world. When I first learned MMA, there was like an MMA school in every street corner. Man, there was when a local show would be thrown, there would be like 5 local gyms fighting on it. And now only y'all's is the only one that still exists.
Yeah,
And and I think that role.
and we're not an MMA gym. That's another
Yeah,
thing.
that
Like,
is-
just in jiu-jitsu school.
And which
you
is
know.
funny though, because most of the shows I fought on, y'all never fought on. Like
Yeah.
there was 1 or 2 guys that I knew fight, y'all never fought on. And I don't know why, but I have a pretty good idea of why. But it was just like this. I mean, every name: Monroe MMA, Twin City MMA.
Mhm.
Well, I trained at Full Force Academy for a little while after I left my first gym, and then Strupp City MMA with Blake, and which that was actually a pretty fun gym. But I mean, there was like at one point there was probably about 6 gyms in the greater Monroe, West Monroe, Bastrop Sharpton area.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to what you're talking about. And when you put on something like the Fant Ewing Coliseum, you have to step off into financial waters
Big time.
that require multiple people, right? And if you want to build that local steam that you're talking about, well, everybody and their mother wants to build that local steam for their little area. So there's too many fingers in the pot versus if you take what you can for yourself and not in like a
Something too that you also gotta have, and I know this happened on that Battlegrounds card. You had a guy, you had his fighters fighting on the card, and he's matchmaking. That's never Alan, right? Alan Graves.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
He's gonna set that up to where his boys look great. He'd be stupid not to, because
Yeah.
he's doing business for himself. In all honesty.
Right, and I mean that therein lies the issue with all of it. Is there's no there's no promoter other than schools around here promoting. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's not like a guy who goes, you know what my job is now? I'm an MMA promoter, and I'm going to put some of these things together, and I'm going to hold this thing, but I don't really have anything to do with MMA. I just got a fat gold ring and drive a nice car.
West Monroe and Monroe, Louisiana don't hold the environment for someone like that to actually make a living.
One thing ring rulers did that, despite a lot of their problems, they did I thought was really good. They were kind of a southeastern-based organization, so what they would do is they would have, my instructor. He, obviously had his own school, but he was in charge of doing the promotions for like Arkansas or East Texas. So therefore, it wasn't really, he knew all the gyms to contact to fight.
Right, but it wasn't his people.
For the most part, it was never his people. Now, he would call me or one of the other guys like, hey, look, I need you to fight this guy. And I mean, my instructor was pretty straight up with me most of the time. He was like, look, man, this guy, I don't think he can hurt you, but I need you to come do this, and I'll pay you back later, All right.
Right, so there's nothing like that. And so when there's nothing like what you're saying, how you start and how you build and how you get that momentum, it becomes a totally different equation. And I think that's what we're going for here, especially with like that kickoff of that January fight through this promotion company, is let's take it all down to its lowest level of strictly local. Now sure we'll bring in talent, but who is funding it and where it's coming from is all local. It's all relatively honest in its approach, right? And then the overhead itself is not killer. It's something that it's a risk worth taking.
Yeah.
Kind of building the foundation.
Right, and that's what I'm talking about, because the barn has been burned.
I think you also got to understand that the building is only going to be able to be so big. Monroe, West Monroe does not latch on. We don't latch on things very well here. I mean, we got high school football, but name one other thing.
Right. So if you can take your promotion, get it going, and then say, hey, Shreveport, how about I bring my promotion over to you? Who you gonna bring to this? Because I got these guys that are coming. Almost make it like a grand tour kind of thing.
Now, see if you can build it, because Ring Rulers is based out of Shreveport, and the best show I ever got to fight on was in the municipal. I don't know. Have you ever fought in the municipal arena over there?
Fought the Horseshoe. It was pretty sweet.
I promise you, the fighting in the municipal arena.
Where's that at?
Help me out here, Brock.
I don't know the municipal arena.
I couldn't get you to it right now, but I mean, it was gigantic, and it was so Harley sponsored it. They had two big bikes on it. You walked out underneath this big screen. You walked down out the stage onto it. It was nice. Okay. And I mean, I still lost this, but
but it was dope.
It was dope, and it's just if you can build it. I just don't think we don't have the population to have something that big here, but if it's kind of like Battle of the Badges, though.
I've never been, but I've seen it advertised a lot, and you usually get a big home crowd. Like from
they
what I
will
hear.
sell. They sell, when I follow them, it sold out. It's huge.
Yeah, I think if I had a vested interest in what we were talking about, in like trying to make it work. The one thing Monroe's got going for it is it's 2 to 3 hours away from everywhere.
5. Me and Ferris always say you're 5 hours away. You're 5 hours south.
Oh yeah, you're talking about going
Dallas?
to Texas. But I'm talking about just Vicksburg, Alexandria, Shreveport, and Little Rock. Just taking that east, west, north, south.
All these Monroe and West Monroeers want to be home by 8 though.
You're not lying on that one.
You're not lying on that.
And there's a reason why everything closes early here. And I mean,
yeah. Well, that's something my wife argued a lot, or not argued about, but was like whenever she moved down here, we're like, oh, let's go to this place or this place, and she's from El Paso, Texas, so it's like it's a big city over there. Everywhere is always open. You can always go somewhere to eat. And she's like, wait, they closed at what time?
Right.
Wait, they're closed at 10?
Can't buy alcohol on Sunday here.
Right.
But it's kind of funny though, because we're going to go off on this weird tangent now. You read Facebook, people our age are like, man, just sell it. And old people, no. Okay, whatever.
For what? Yeah, why the no? Why the hard no?
And their no is always the same. Well, religion. I'm like, I get that.
Either they went to church or they didn't, though, that Sunday. Either you went to church or you didn't.
Yeah.
And once again, who am I to tell you how to live?
Right. But anyway, go back to fighting. What's your favorite technique?
My favorite, yeah. I don't know. That feels like a weird question.
That's in the guard.
Let me
That's in the guard.
let me ask you this: would you consider yourself a mixed martial artist, or would you consider yourself a
Jiu-jitsu fighter.
a grappler that's
Jiu-jitsu
just
fighter.
kind of-
Yeah. I mean, I love mixed martial arts. Like I fight. That's what I do. But like
What's your-
jiu-jitsu's the foundations to everything.
So are you-
nobody who's fighting me goes, "Oh, I wonder what Dylan's gonna do." I close the distance.
So have you been forced to bang with somebody?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Or I'm put in bad spots. My last fight with Chris Miller was pretty rough first round.
Mhm.
But I mean,
Have you done that boxing match?
no. I've done boxing boxing rounds, training, but never like an actual boxing match. I don't think I would.
When you did
either.
your boxing rounds, then were they against guys like you who just knew, or have you actually gone against boxers? Or?
I don't think I've ever gone against someone that was strictly a boxer.
I'm just asking. I mean, I'm kind of trying to. I watched you fight one
My
time.
striking's not super good. If that's the question, it's not super good. Like everything I do is real traditional in the Gracie stance and everything else. Like the way I approach and go to the clinch. I'm not a wrestler either though. So like I'm not shooting out here.
So
shooting
when you
for
go,
doubles.
so something I noticed with guys who are predominantly jiu-jitsu, y'all like being on your back, but
No, not really.
okay.
But
Not
yeah,
really.
but he has a philosophy,
No.
and we are trained in philosophy. And I can tell you that right now, of not being on the
Yeah,
back.
you kind of don't. Whenever somebody's on top of you punching you, if I'm on my back or I'm in my guard, like the amount of mistakes I can make in that position are very small. So versus if I'm on top, I'm passing the guard. It's like I can be inside control of the amount. I can make a handful of mistakes.
So when you're on the ground, and let's say you're in somebody's guard.
Okay.
Is your first instinct is to pass guard, or if you start hitting them? in the
I'm
face?
passing.
Okay.
Passing guard.
I've noticed, and I ran into this problem in a fight too, because at one point I actually was pretty good at jiu-jitsu, but I was training every day at our gym. Don't like one on, but we didn't do ground and pound in our gym. Just it was harder to control your ground and pound. It was a lot more risk for people.
Well, I mean, yeah.
And so one fight, I'm sitting there, I got this dude in my guard, and I am winning the fight, but.
He's in your guard.
Yeah, I had him in a triangle check at one point, but this has kind of been always when me and Ferris talking about the difference in the school I went to versus the difference in y'all school, which is predominantly jiu-jitsu. I know how to do a triangle check, but y'all do those extra little details that made that choke just a little bit better. And
Yeah.
I didn't, but I also know how to kick the shit out of somebody too. But but we didn't do ground and pound. So one fight I should have been when I had the dude in my, because I had him in a choke. I say a choke. I had him in a triangle hold. Probably about 30, 45 seconds. I should have just been hitting him in the face when I couldn't get the choke. I'm just sitting there trying to get the choke and gas myself up.
Well, it's like there's the spots. I'm not gonna be in the guard work, especially in open guard. I'm not in the open guard working on ground and pound. Whenever I can pass that guard, get inside control, and then throw really good shots. Like, because once I'm past the guard and I get into mount and side control, that's where all my finishes are coming from. Is I'll mount guys, and whenever I hit them, that first instinct, if they don't know how to properly escape the mount, now they're turning over and giving me the back.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah, you've used your strikes, and you've definitely ground and pound in your fights, but it's always been let me establish the better position. Now let me throw the punch. Oh, you even gave me a better position,
And people will make mistakes,
and hitting is
especially
a part of
from the top.
jiu-jitsu. I would say hitting's a part of jiu-jitsu. All you gotta do is go as far as Hickson Gracie, and watch how Hickson would, gift wrap the guy and start punching him in the head. Come on, go ahead, turn over. Yeah, punching's a part of jiu-jitsu. It's just that's the part that you can't train as often. It's that's the part. And one of the things, I think that a lot of martial arts are effective. I'll say this on record. I think kickboxing is an effective thing. However, I can't go get kicked in the head 6 hours a day.
No, you can't.
But I can train jiu-jitsu 6 hours a day. I can do it as long as I'm surrounded by good training partners. I can actually do it, and that's what makes jiu-jitsu what it is. Because I can legitimately choke a guy out, and it'd be cool. I can legitimately hyperextend a joint, and it'd be cool. And it's the ability to actually do it that makes it the art that it is, And as far as like seeing jiu-jitsu guys get on their back, I think one of the worst things that can ever happen is an instructor that allows you to think that's okay. And then, the moment you get tired, let me just get on my back. I can bring so much better.
Quarters for being okay doing that.
Well, it's different though. I mean, there's like levels to it.
Yeah, Big Nog though was also a whole different level of animal.
Chrome doesn't have any problem from his back.
Yeah.
Like, it's a whole different.
And also Big Nog fought. Big Nog was legitimate jiu-jitsu and also a will guy. Big Nog was going to test his will against your will. I mean, there's a reason why Mir, took his arm off. And it's because Nog got Nog got caught in it, and Nog was okay. Go ahead. Let's see if you're gonna do it. But that's that level. That level of savage is
I'd
a different thing.
Knowing I can fight in a couple months, then have my arm snap, knowing I'm gonna be out for a year.
I've had 2 major surgeries on my shoulders, not going back there.
Yeah, it is. That's why I've kind of had to put boxing on hold. And it's just like, man, my shoulders hurt too bad. I've been doing this every day, off and on for 10 years. It's just like.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing that people don't. I've started some early morning workouts with Dylan where we do some light movement and stuff like that. But just holding your hands up like this, the neck and shoulder muscle that's involved to just hold your hands up. There's a reason why you see pro fighters and in the 3rd round they're here, because your body is tired. The adrenaline dump has happened, and just the ability to hold your arms up here becomes a struggle. Much less the ability to think and throw punches and continue moving. So there's a certain level of willpower that's involved in fighting. That has nothing to do with skill. Because there's some highly skilled guys out there that don't do well when they fight. But then there's some guys that just shine under the
It's
pressure.
something me and a guy who kind of now become my instructor, but he's a friend that has been doing it a lot longer than I have. He helps me out. And we were talking about it because I don't know how it is in y'all's gym, but I go to the boxing gym and I see it a lot. You see these guys who practice sparring, man, against their friends. They look like beasts, and then you watch their fight, and I'm like, man, your feet are in cement. And luckily for me, I'm kind of the exact opposite. I'm going to look like crap in sparring because it's just not real. I can't convince myself to sit here and really worry about how I'm going to get hit in the face, and it doesn't mean anything. I'm not going to win. I'm not going to get my name called. But when spotlight's on, I'm like, let's do this. But you see it, and it's kind of weird, and that's why I kind of stopped going to the boxing gym recently. I'm just watching these guys talk hella mad shit. I'm like, you look really great against your friends. And I've seen them fight. Some of these guys go harder against their friends in sparring than they do in the actual fight. I'm like, you put that much effort into hitting your friend in the face, but this dude who you're gonna get paid $5,000 to beat this guy. He didn't do shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's
that performance anxiety hurts a lot of people.
Yeah, performance, and I don't know that there's a way to get through it. I mean, some people can, and some people can't. I don't know that you can 100% train it to happen.
Experience, that's it.
Yeah, but even that, it's a hard road, right?
Some of it is getting different sparring partners too.
Yeah, bringing in somebody from outside that don't have an emotional connection to you that will exploit your movement or
you don't know. I mean, you spar the same guys over and over again. You're gonna start learning their tails. You're gonna start kind of knowing. Okay, this guy doesn't like it when I rush him. Because some guys are straight up defensive fighters, and it works for them. I'm kind of a defensive fighter, and it's just, and that's kind of for you if you actually want to go further than just little local shows making a few bucks. You're gonna have to go off and train. If you want to fight in the UFC, you got to surround yourself with guys training in the UFC.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. It's kind of like when if you want to make it to the NFL, you kind of got to go to these big ass schools. You got to go to Bama. You got to go to LSU. You're not going to make it to the pros. Sorry to say this, ULM will love you, but how many guys from ULM make it to the pros? Versus how many guys from Bama make it to the pros?
ULM is just now making a comeback too, aren't they? Like after years and years of. See, I don't follow football enough, but I hear it's been a rough.
They have this weird thing of beating high-level opponents
every now and then.
Every now and then.
We are historically bad.
Yeah.
Me and Barrett joke about it. It's like some schools just accidentally do good. We are historically terrible at everything.
Yeah.
Why is that? I could make a whole 4-hour podcast on ULM. Like, man, what is
it going to take to make MMA get closer? Because I know it'll never be the national icon that football is, but what is it like? You can go for 4 hours just on that. Like, what is it going to take to get those super casual fans moved over into understanding the sport more?
Universal base understanding.
So
that will never happen, because what makes football work
is there's football in high school and there's football in middle school.
I played. I was actually really good running back.
Yeah.
I think you
I
also.
wouldn't have done that.
I mean, let's be. Okay, let's take Dillon. You say your last name Fraley, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take Dillon Fraley. Well, does Joe Brown in Alexandria? Who's Dillon Fraley to him?
Nobody.
Nobody.
Yeah.
But you take football. What is LSU to Joe Brown? Oh
Right,
man, that's my goddamn state.
Yeah, that's the whole
geographical.
thing.
You are representing you. You are representing Quan Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, West Monroe, whatever. Y'all schools changed name a couple times, so I don't know. It's Quan Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, right?
Yes.
Okay. So Dillon Fraley represents Dillon Fraley of West Monroe, or Monroe, whichever you're from. Quan Gracie, West Monroe. He's not representing Joe. And Joe Brown's Alexandria mind. You don't represent him.
Well, then you look at the major leagues, like you look at the UFC, you look at Bellator. I mean, it becomes the closest thing they can relate to. It becomes a whole cultural. It's U.S. versus Brazil.
Yes.
Even that still doesn't.
And that's not, like you're saying, that's not close enough. That's not personal enough.
There almost needs to be like and when I say universal base understanding, there almost needs to be like a Louisiana team.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they had that kind of with the IFL. You remember the IFL? I don't know if you do.
Yeah, I do. But I'm talking about
You would have been maybe 13 or 14.
Yeah.
I mean, this is maybe when I first started MMA at like 19 or 20, so it was 10 years ago.
IFL.
Yeah, it was.
International? Well,
it was international fighting.
Yeah.
But basically, what it was you had like one of the names was like the Reno Condor. I don't remember the exact names. It was Reno Gamblers or some shit. And it was like Ken Shamrock was the coach, and he had 5 fighters that had heavyweight. And it was still when there was only 5 divisions: heavyweight, light heavyweight, middleweight, welterweight, lightweight.
Yeah. Those was his fighters of that area.
Yeah. And you had like the Dallas whatever and Los Angeles whatever. And it still never got that big. You know who Ben Rothwell is, right?
Yeah.
He got his start in the IFL.
Okay.
That was when he kind of got his fame started, and then he went to UFC from the IFL.
And it's popped hot.
I don't understand that. Yeah, recently popped hot, and you're like, really? You?
He seems like
There's a lot of fighters though, and I was thinking about this the other day because now that you saw us coming around, some of these guys aren't what they used to be.
Oh no, 100%. And then we were just talking about that earlier with Alistair Overeem.
One of my favorite fighters, man. Showtime, man. It looks.
Yeah.
Johnny Hendricks too.
Johnny Hendricks was like a poster child.
I mean, he was born. He gave George St. Pierre all he wanted and more. He made George St. Pierre look like crap.
And then instantly.
Can't even make 185. Like. I get you like cheeseburgers. I like maybe a cheeseburger too.
Well, I don't think it's not just that, man. His eyes in the ring, the way he looked when he fought, was
not
totally different.
That is one guy that is not the same. Eric Silva's a big one too.
Yes.
A lot of those Brazilian guys.
There's stuff in the Amazon.
I think me and Jesse were talking about this after Jose Aldo's last loss to Max Holloway. I think his team went from being like 32-7 over 2012 to 2015 to USADA stepping in 2014, and now they're like 12-4 or something awful, or no, 4-12.
Yeah,
like it's awful now.
I mean, does look a little sketchy.
Doesn't it?
A lot of those guys, their careers weren't the same after. I mean, Alistair Overeem was the same.
I think.
But nobody was caught those problems.
Yeah.
I think part of it's accidental. I mean, we've seen that there's accidental doping, and then part of it was an IQ test. There's so many people that says it was an IQ test. Whatever you were on, make sure you were off of it by the time you get to the weigh-in, so that whenever they did test you, it's completely clean. And then they had the ability to IV, and when you can use IV, you can flush your system completely out and completely get rid of certain things.
Well, everyone's argument for pound greatest fighter to ever walk the face of the earth in comparison to the competition he's had and the success he's made since he started fighting is John Bones Jones. No one argues it.
I'm gonna argue it.
All right,
I say GSP.
I have to go with GSP because either him or Anderson. But see, Anderson started popping hot now, so it's kind of like.
Well, I know, but
I can't make the argument.
And GSP's the
who's
only one
GSP
that
fought? Who's he fought in comparison to
Matt
John Jones?
Hughes.
Matt Hughes.
Matt
We're talking
Serra.
about Vitor Belfort, Shogun Wood.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
hold on. You're looking at this from GSP out wrestled He out wrestled Koscheck, who was.
Have you ever read GSP's book?
I
Because
haven't.
I said everything that you said, and then this moron right here
I can't.
handed me GSP's book, and GSP specifically addresses it in such a way that I'm like, okay, you're right. Whenever he was like, I wasn't out to get in a fight, I'm out to win. I'm out to do whatever I can to not get hurt and win. And you're right. He showed what a high-level wrestling can do to protect yourself.
Right.
Absolutely.
I agree, but how has John Jones been post USADA? He's made it through one fight
OSP.
successfully.
And he looked like shit.
And he looked like shit. And all the rest he popped top for.
Who?
For Daniel Cormier.
Yeah, it's 220.
I'm sorry, but OSP, because OSP took that fight on real short notice.
Yes.
No, wait. Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
He took it on like 2 to 4. I don't remember how short it was, but I think he took it on like 2 or 3 weeks notice.
Yeah.
OSP given a full training camp beats John Jones that night.
That night.
That
And
night.
DC.
Not the one that head kicked DC though.
No.
Doesn't be that one.
The one that pops
And
off.
see, the thing about that fight, like, say that the steroid just gave him better stamina.
Or
Well,
confidence.
that's-
Yeah, more confidence. Up until that head kick, it was a fairly even match,
Did
you
you-
know, and then DC started declining stamina-wise. And
Did
that's,
you,
Yeah.
Well, I was listening to Chael Sonnen's podcast, and he was talking about what John Jones popped for.
Trenaball.
It's basically it's an aggro drug. It
Yes.
makes you.
It is a power lifter, short turn.
It gives you that. It gives you that berserker fucking go for a short time, which the time frame without a fight frame. You know?
You mean 30 minutes?
I mean, it's a-
5-minute rounds, minute break in between, 30 minutes.
It's an aggro drug. Man.
Get him in there. Just get him in there.
I just don't. I don't look at. And, no, I'm gonna say this. If my problem with John Jones is how he acts versus how he is. If John Jones gave a press conference, you know what? I'm a piece of shit, and what are you gonna do about it? I like blow hookers and bad things.
Wasn't that Chael's argument for
Yeah,
him?
that is
If he
Chael's
just,
argument,
if he just came out as the bad guy.
They come out as a bad guy. And he's like, you know what? I'm an asshole, and I'm the best fighter on the fucking. I'm like,
I mean, that's what Floyd's made that. Floyd's the bad guy. People tune in to watch him lose, or used to.
Try to lose.
Yeah.
Somebody take him out.
nobody. No, that was his whole thing.
Yep.
Nobody paid to watch him win. People paid to hope they see the one time somebody was gonna catch him,
Yeah.
and nobody. Best boxer of all time. Can't make him.
Y'all heard about Pacquiao and Conor McGregor?
No.
Fight doesn't.
I'm
sell.
gonna throw something through a window if that's the next fight.
Money. It's gas.
That fight doesn't make the money. Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor.
It don't matter. It's better than stepping in the ring with somebody else.
With a hungry Tony Ferguson,
Mhm.
pissed off Max Holloway, I can just box Manny
And
Pacquiao.
Nate in the corner going, "You took everything I own."
Yeah.
Where's my third round? Where's my third fight?
If you're Conor McGregor, do you fight anyone? I'm sorry, I'm not making that kind of money. Deuces.
I mean, he says yes.
Well, he's
Anytime it comes up.
he's already said make money and get out. That was
Yeah.
that was an iconic tweet like a year and a half ago. Was get the money, get out, and
And he didn't get hurt. I mean, who?
that's what gets the casual fans in is a character like Conor McGregor. That's had this
It's that-
huge influx of people tuning in and checking it out, and
Cultural.
It's that WWE style, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Conor McGregor, Chael Sonnen, Tito Ortiz, none of these guys. All these guys did was copy what professional wrestlers have done.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, if you're just that humble dude, oh man, it was great.
The Damian Myers.
Yeah, when you don't have a personality, nobody cares. But when you get out, Floyd Mayweather's a prime example of this.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a great fighter, but he was a god at talking shit.
Yeah, I mean, technically, he's never defended a belt.
Who?
Conor.
Oh, never.
And that's,
Not
I
one.
mean, but yet people tout him as like amazing. But most other people don't even get talked about until they defended their belt.
Yeah.
I mean,
GSP, sorry, still just the greatest fighter.
No, I completely respect
and,
that.
and the thing I love about GSP more than anything is when he walked away from that Johnny Hendricks fight, the fact that he did it talking about PEDs. The fact that he was like, there's too many people on PEDs,
Yeah.
that it's too rampant. And, you know, you just have to think, how many times did GSP probably get in a fight with somebody like John Finch or something like that, one of those
Yeah.
fights, and
Guys
where
like
he grabbed the
Richardson.
hold to John Finch, and John Finch all of a sudden, you know, and GSP probably went, what in God's name did I just grab? You know, or he's fighting him, and he really realized how strong John is and how long John can fight, or even Johnny Hendricks. You know, when Johnny Hendricks hits like a Mack truck, and you're like, okay, he can only
doesn't
throw
get tired for 5 rounds.
Right, he can only throw those shots for a couple of rounds, and he's gonna be tired. I don't care who he is; it doesn't matter. But yeah, in round 5, he's still coming, landing bombs. You know, hats off to GSP because he still found a way.
Yeah. You know, he just vacated the title. I'm pretty.
I don't blame him.
I'm glad he did that though, and didn't hold up the whole division.
Yeah.
Like Connor's done for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Or 3 years.
3.
It's hard to even call Conor the champion. I mean, he is.
Yeah,
but it's like,
I mean,
Both one and only dual concurrent.
it's kind of like
Yeah.
the worst part about it is DC being the light heavyweight champion. It's like you feel sorry for him.
I do too.
Greatest guy ever.
He's such a cool dude.
And it's like no matter what,
There's always John Jones.
there's always even me. I'm like.
Yeah.
I look at it when DC is the champ was John Jones did not do everything you're supposed to do.
Yeah, didn't do anything he's supposed to do.
He never. I mean, he did coke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the coke was no issue though.
Yeah,
He didn't
the-
get suspended or anything. Not for coke.
I thought it was just fine.
Was it?
I'll have to
Yeah,
look.
because the coke was
Out of
recreational.
competition.
Out
Yeah,
of
it's
competition cocaine.
Yeah, it's not like he walked into the ring with cocaine. Cocaine
Yeah.
only stays in your system for 72 hours.
Yeah. The problem is that
Good
the
about
problem
it.
was the hit and run with the allegedly. Tim says allegedly it's a bad high.
I heard that. Allegedly. You know what, guys? It's been 2 hours.
Has it been 2 hours?
Yeah, it's been a little long than 2 hours. Why don't we plug you real quick?
Alright. Well, kind of weird. I don't know. Anyways, if you get a
The
chance, check out.
handsome Tim.
I'm the handsome Tim. Anyway, if you get a chance while you're also listening to Little Banter and you just happen to stumble upon the Weird but Harmless podcast, give us a check. You know, we're nowhere near as professional as these guys. And we go off on even stranger tangents. I mean, we're called the Weird but Harmless podcast for a reason. You know, we've had some interesting guests.
Like them on Facebook. One of these days they'll get an Instagram or
We'll
something.
get a Twitter.
Twitter.
It's another one of the things that would take 5 minutes to do. Which,
Yeah.
I don't have a
You can
Twitter.
link them. Look, you can link them all and just post something from Instagram and it goes to both the other two. And you're just done.
it's too much effort. Anyway, we're taking a little bit of a break. We should be back. I think me and Ferris are going to try and do one tomorrow. We got,
Sweet.
Yeah, we got a few guests we're trying to get lined out. I think we're going to try and have you on sometime soon.
That'd be pretty cool. Ferris mentioned it to me.
Yeah, definitely. We're just going to sit here and rotate out, you know?
Yeah.
Let's go back and forth.
Eventually we'll just make ourselves one big conglomerate or something.
Yeah.
No, I'm just joking.
We should kind of have
Bryce-
right there in the weird.
It's like we could join teams. Just kidding. I'm not a team player.
I'm a team player. I hardly play well with myself.
What?
You heard
What?
Anyways, yeah, if you get a chance, just go like us on the Weird but Harmless Facebook page.
Yeah.
Terrible at plugins. We're gonna.
That's alright.
No. We only have the Facebook page right now, but we're we're rolling around some ideas. Again, you know,
Tim's weird, but he's harmless.
I mean, that was really it. I even back, my first girlfriend's dad said that. I'm like, he's weird. He's harmless.
Is that how you got the name of your
No.
podcast from your first girlfriend's dad?
No, but I mean, that has been the general consensus for me and Ferris. They're incredibly weird. They're harmless, and just it sounded better than the Tim and Ferris podcast.
Yeah, I'm not tuning into the Tim Ferriss podcast. Well, yeah, I probably am.
You would, because
Maybe because someone accidentally thought they were going to the Tim Ferriss podcast.
That's a cool way to pull views. I like that.
But see, you would listen because you know us. But
Yeah.
you realize people who don't know us, you're not close to us. And,
Yeah, there's ways to get them.
yeah.
Fuck Tim. Who's Tim?
There's probably some people that have said, I'm not listening to that because I hate that fucker.
Really? Well, hey, but they listened once.
I mean, that's true.
They had to listen to hate you.
Yeah, they probably follow me on Facebook.
And they
This
probably-
guy don't pull over for funerals. Son of a bitch.
I'm never pulling over for another funeral. In honor
Just
of
turn
you.
your blink, just turn your blink on and fall right into it, man. You would have stepped out when I explained that story, didn't you?
Yeah, but I heard it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, I get it. I understand. man's got to get where he's going.
I was running late, man.
All right. Well, we're gonna wrap this up, but it was a pleasure.
Man, I'd love to do it again. We'd love to get both of y'all on again. Maybe one day, if the world's aligned, we can have a weird joint, weird but harmless, and a gorilla banter.
We'll talk about it. I mean, I'm all for it. And yeah, we'll have to get Ferris in here again.
Wait a minute.
Just
Wait a
so we
minute.
can switch out.
The weird gorilla, harmless banter.
Weird gorilla, harmless banter. We'll have to
The
figure out a
weird
graphic
gorilla
for
sounds
that.
way cooler than the rest of it. Just go with weird gorilla.
The weird gorilla.
The real, or hang on, I can't say weird now. The weird gorilla with harmless banter. Because the gorilla
That's
has
too long.
harmless
I was
banter.
gonna say weird. Let's just go with weird gorilla. It's short, fits on the t-shirt.
Well,
Put it on a shirt!
Put her. Hey, what's up? As always, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Don't forget to follow Dylan for all his latest tournaments and adventures. Keep up with his training. Also, follow me. I say goofy, stupid stuff all the time. If Matt was here, I'd plug him, but he's not here. So boo. No, he
Let
had
the whole team down.
He
He's
had
the only one of y'all I don't think I'm actually friends with on Facebook.
Really? I think you would like Matt. He's a good guy.
I feel kind of bad about it.
He had some real life he had to attend to
It's
this
amazing all
weekend.
that happens.
Yep. As always, don't forget, comment, share,
Like,
tell us you hate us, like, subscribe, all them there buttons. Click them. Click
I'm
it.
afraid
Click
to have
them.
haters.
By the way, I loved my haters. I love y'all. Love to all the haters.
Anybody that says they have haters,
Yeah.
that, I don't know, there's something about it that peeves me.
Well, the thing is, they can hate me, but I'm not gonna hate them. So.
It's like a white girl thing. I got all these haters
All
out
these
here.
haters think they don't like the fact that I'm real. Well, until next time, ladies and gentlemen,
Even
this
though
has
I-
been the Gorilla Banter Podcast, and we've been real.
Your face right now makes it all better.
Closing music.
That's right. This is the closing music. And we're still recording. They can hear us.